Good evening, sim racing fans, and welcome to the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway this evening on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing, for our coverage of the Extreme Motorsports 99.com Xfinity Series All-Star Invitational in Hampton, Georgia. We want to welcome you into the LSRTV broadcast booth as we work through our single car qualifier session in advance of tonight's All-Star event that is 125 laps and 187 miles around this Atlanta Motor Speedway. Alongside myself, Evan Pasoko, is Brian Macklin. As always, our executive producer on the evening is Laura Lawson. Brian, first off, we're in hot Atlanta. We were originally going to be in Fontana, California. Last second change, threw a curveball at these drivers. All of a sudden, you're at a completely different kind of a racetrack, and you're about to do battle against, if you're in one of them, 5 other leagues. We got 6 leagues total that have brought the best of the best in their respective B-Car series to the track tonight. Right now, qualifying is currently being worked. You see the top 15 times at the top of your screen right now. But Atlanta is a very fast track, as we've seen with these lap times, but it's also very difficult to navigate off the corners, and that's something else that we've seen throughout the practice sessions.
Yeah, we've seen a lot of these guys really struggle, and it's a big curveball, like you mentioned, going from where they thought they were going to be at being Auto Club, and now they're coming here to Atlanta. That's a big change. Auto Club has a lot more speed. There's typically more grip there than there is here at Atlanta, so it was a big change for these guys. And it's really exciting to get to see these 6 different leagues going against one another and seeing who's going to come out on top tonight. It's going to be a lot of fun to watch these guys battle against each other and see who can be the Premier League when it's all said and done. This is a good track to do that too, because it's going to be very challenging for these drivers. All the bumps and the tire wear that we expect to see here is going to make it very exciting, and it's going to be a very interesting race if they get a couple of long green flag runs in.
We'll talk about some track facts about the Atlanta Motor Speedway. This racetrack is located in Hampton, Georgia. It's owned and operated by the Speedway Motorsports Incorporated Group. Broke back in 1958. It opened back in 1960 at that time for construction cost of $1.8 million. The track itself, intermediate racetrack, just a little bit over your standard at 1.5. If you want to get technical, it's 1.54 miles at a lap around this racetrack. 24 degrees of banking, 5 in the straights down the back and on the front straightaway as well. It's a pretty good amount of banking. This racetrack, though, is very, very fast, especially rate when you go out on the racetrack with a fresh set of tires. These guys in qualifying pretty much going, floor down all the way around, but these handling issues are going to be a concern as we go through this night. Again, 125 laps is a long way to go. We're going to see pit stop cycle through. We're going to see cautions, pit strategy, and maybe a little bit of gamesmanship amongst teammates trying to help each other out. So, these drivers really have to find a balance, Brian, between being fast, and you can do that at this racetrack, but it's kind of rough, too. You're bouncing around there. You got to save something to make it 125 laps as well.
Yeah, and this setup is a very loose setup. I went out there in practice and tested it just a little bit myself, and it can be a little bit on the free side when you're out there in the draft, and that's going to present a big issue, because if you get the right rear tire heated up on this thing, it's going to make it extremely difficult to drive, and it's going to really affect the handling. So you're going to have to balance, like you said, going out there and trying to be as fast as possible versus saving a little bit so that if we do get a long green flag run, you have something at the end of the run. And this is a track that typically sees a lot of long green flag runs. We might have some cautions at the beginning as everybody gets comfortable with racing with one another and gets to really feeling what the setup's going to do. But once they figure that out, I have a feeling you're going to see a lot of green flag runs, and it's going to be really interesting to see if the cream rises to the top, where you have guys that are really fast on the long run versus those guys that are able to hot lap and go to the front in qualifying.
And the 6 leagues that are competing in tonight's event live on LSRTV is the North American Racing Network, as well United Sim Racing, the Championship Online Racing Association, Sim Racing Authority, Extreme Motorsports 99, who plays host tonight, and then the Max Speed Racing League. 5 out of those 6 names there we saw with us on LSRTV last week for the first of this 2015 swing of All-Star events put on by Extreme Motorsports 99.com. They run their Truck Series on Tuesday, the B-Cars on Wednesday, their Cup Series on Thursday. It was last Tuesday that we got the 2015 All-Star Invitationals underway, and that one was at Las Vegas Motor Speedway for the Camping World Truck Series. Sim Racing Authority's Marcus Richardson won that event in dominating fashion. Actually, the entire SRA organization took out most of the top 10. The only time that they had done this whole All-Star thing, which bringing in a whole bunch of these top leagues, was last season. It was this Xfinity event. Marcus Richardson won that as well. So in 2 goes at it, Marcus Richardson's been the only person to walk away with the checkered flag so far. Only thing we can guarantee outside of that is that's going to change tonight. You take a look, as that driver not in the field, not one of the competing vehicles right now in qualifying, as everybody has pretty much come to a close, Brian. 2-lap single car qualifying, 9 minutes through, and looks like about the total number of 43 cars, so everybody has put down at least some sort of a time in qualifying. It is Derek Bordeaux who should be on the pole position with a 29.373. We'll give you the full LSRTV starting grid once they do rack them and stack them and we get set to go racing. But in iRacing, you'll see a lot of people that work with an open qualifier session. You get 5-10 minutes to do really whatever you want. What are some of maybe the big changes, Brian, as a driver that you have to change mentally from going to a session that's 5 minutes, 10 minutes long, that you can get a couple of shots at it, to one of these where you got 2 laps and that's it? What's one of the major changes that these drivers do, knowing that they really don't have a lot of leeway if you mess up that first try at it?
Well, I think the biggest thing you'll see in most cases is when they have a 2-lap qualifying session like this, they're going to go out and make several mock qualifying runs during the practice session. When you have a group qualifying session that's 20 or 25 minutes long, you have time in there to figure out how to hot lap there. So you don't have to worry about doing your practice qualifying runs during the practice session. You can take that time and go out there and do long runs. With this being a 2-lap single car qualifying, you have to take a little bit of time, usually towards the end of practice, and go out there and try to figure out just how quick you can get around this track without wrecking the car. And I'm sure that a lot of them did that. I was watching several of these drivers, and it looked like they were attempting it. There's some, though, I looked down towards the bottom of the timesheet here, that really didn't put a lot of effort into their qualifying time. I'm thinking they might have just wanted to start in the back, because 40th, 41st, 42nd, and 43rd all ran really slow, 40th being 56 seconds, and then everybody else was over a minute long on their lap time. So I think that was by design. They probably just wanted to start at the back, and they knew the best way to do that is to go out there and turn a very slow lap. That way nobody's going to be slower than you.
Sometimes a better option doing that than starting from pit road. We saw a little bit that last week in our Camping World Truck Series All-Star event, drivers starting for the pit lane so they're not in that giant cluster 22 rows deep off the corners 1 and 2 for the first time. Track right now is quiet as we get set to get the action underway. We'll step down trackside now for the opening ceremonies and the singing of our national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight o'er the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the bombs bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the home of the brave?
Back on track here at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. LSRTV's coverage of the Extreme Motorsports and a 9.com Xfinity Series All-Star Invitational is presented by Inside Sim Racing TV. For all the latest news and reviews from console to PC, go to ISRTV.com. Do want to thank Jaden Berkey for the singing of tonight's national anthem and the virtual Thunderbirds as well for the flyover. So we take a look at some of these times, Ryan. We were talking about some of the strategy involved with qualifying here. Derek Bordeaux, fastest car in practice with a 29.407. A 29.373 was his qualifying time. So you can see with those times being rather close to each other that they were going out there and getting some of the hot laps in. Atlanta Motor Speedway, we talk at this racetrack's very old. Now, of course, the racing surface hasn't been around since 1960, but it is one of the older asphalt surfaces as far as repaves. It is a very rough racetrack to navigate, But with 24 degrees of banking, it is quite wide. As well. You know, we saw a lot of drivers really struggling at a corner number 2 in the practice session, corner 4 as well, a little bit tricky. But one part about the anatomy maybe of this racetrack that I want to take a moment to talk about is that front stretch. It's not a straightaway, but it's not a tri-oval. The tri-oval, like we saw last week at Las Vegas Motor Speedway, it's a long, progressive left-hand curve by the start-finish line. This is something that you'll see at Charlotte. It's a quad oval. There's 2 very distinct dog legs. You know, there's a short chute maybe out of 4. You got a kink to the start-finish line, another left-hand. Essentially, their turns, they're fine when you're out there and, you know, by yourself and you're doing your qualifying laps, but when we get maybe even in the beginning portion of this race when everybody's together, and then you get to the latter stages of this race when there's a lot of guys driving really, really hard, those parts on that front straightaway where you make that sharp left-hand turn can become quite tricky when you get 2 and 3 wide.
Yeah, and it presents a bit of an issue for the drivers too, because it messes up your entry to the corner. If you're side by side with somebody, you're not going to get the same angle into the corner that you would get if you're by yourself going into the corner single file. It's really going to present a challenge for these guys, and it's already a challenge enough because when you come out of that second dogleg, you've only got about a second to a second and a half to set up for the corner. So it's very mentally draining when you have to race side by side with somebody here for a long period of time. And unfortunately, so far in iRacing, we don't have the ability to run multiple grooves here at Atlanta like you would normally see in the Sprint Cup Series or the Xfinity Series. We pretty much are stuck to 1 to maybe 2 grooves right down towards the bottom of the track. So you really can't try to set up for a wide angle into the corner and try to run up by the wall like you would normally see these guys do. Hopefully, with the dynamic surfaces that iRacing is trying to get pushed out for us, we'll be able to do that in the very near future. However, we don't have that option right now. So that really makes things tricky for these drivers. They know they only have 2 grooves to work with. Maybe if they have good tires, they'll be able to make the second groove work. If not, they're going to have to kind of concede the position to whoever's trying to make the pass and just try to set them up when they come off the corner.
There's a lot of exciting racing coming up throughout this month and into the next on LSRTV. For all of the broadcast schedule info and all of that good stuff, you can go to our website at livesimracing.com or check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/livesimracingtv. Also use the hashtag LSRTV and let us know your thoughts on all the action out on the racetrack. But this Friday, we do have round 2 with the iSuperspeedway.com Racing Series iSuper Chase, where after this event, 10 drivers go down to 6 before we get racing into the final 3 events of the year, so make sure to tune in Friday night on LSRTV, that one at 10 o'clock Eastern and 7 o'clock Pacific. So we talk about how this series, ExtremeMotorsports99.com, again, the hosts on tonight's festivities. You can check them out online at ExtremeMotorsports99.com. They run 3 of these NASCAR series. They also have an IndyCar series that they run, but we saw their trucks last Tuesday. We got the Xfinity All-Star event taking place of its regularly seasoned slot with these guys on Wednesday evenings tonight. We'll also have the Cup Series All-Star Invitational just a couple of weeks on LSRTV. 3 weeks from tomorrow on the 6th of August, going to be on LSRTV. That track is still to be determined. But we talk about these Xfinity cars, the B cars, the Nationwide cars, whatever you want to call them, Brian. These race cars are very momentum-based. What are some of the challenges maybe that these guys are going to have to really try to pinpoint in these specific machines as opposed to what they were looking at? You know, you can relate these kind of to the trucks a little bit, but in comparison to the trucks, what we saw last week, and a lot of these guys do run all of the different series. What are some of the key points to note in these B-class machines?
Well, not only are they very momentum-based, but they also rely heavily on the draft. You're going to see a guy that's behind 2 or 3 cars really be able to get a suck-up on the guys in front of them, and he's going to be able to pull up on them down the straightaways here. These cars have always been like that, and that hasn't really changed in the recent couple of seasons, and that's what you're going to see here tonight. It's going to be less of an issue once the tires start to fall off, because that's when you're going to start seeing the guys that save their tires go into the front. But in the beginning of the runs, when they get on the restart, you're going to see drafting be a big thing for these drivers. They're really going to have to rely on that to stay close to the front guys. And when you get side by side, that's another thing. When you get side by side, if there's somebody in front of you that's running by himself, he's going to drive away because you're going to lose a ton of time being side by side trying to battle for position. And if you're, like, say the leader is out front and second and third are battling side by side, the leader's going to drive away, and that's the last thing you want. So there's going to have to be some type of system where these drivers work together to not let somebody get away from them. If it's teammates or people from the same league, they'll probably communicate with one another and set it up to where they're not racing like that. But if you're racing against somebody from an opposing league, you're not going to be as nice to them. You're going to race them a lot harder. So it's going to be a lot of fun to watch. I think this is going to be one of the best races we've seen on here in a while, and I think we're going to have a lot of fun calling it tonight.
Well, congratulations go around through the garage area as qualifying looks like it's coming to a close momentarily, and we're going to be able to get set to get this one underway. If you're checking out the action tonight and you want to join the roster of 6 leagues rolling forward and be a part of one of these All-Star Invitationals events, contact the league administrator with Extreme Motorsports 99. You can contact Rick Donathan at his email. That's rick@extrememotorsports99.com, and be out on track with us on the 6th of August for the Cup Series All-Star in 3 weeks from tomorrow night. So Derek Bordeaux right now looks like he will walk away with the pole award. Not the only award going out tonight. The winner at the end of the night as well gets a custom plaque with their car on it. There's a couple of other prizes that are going to be handed out, sponsored by various organizations that make Extreme Motorsports at 99.com possible without all of their series. From the Hard Charger Award and so many other things that we're going to take a look at. You take a look at your top 10 right now in qualifying, the top 15 up there right now. The car that's second in queue is Ariati. That machine, Brian, was 10th in practice. Another driver that you can maybe toss into there as well, Nick Northrop, who was 6th. He was 12th in practice. Is that something that would maybe concern you, that somebody makes such a big jump from practice to qual as far as being maybe only having quick hot lap speed, or is it really just as far as how they execute when you see a number like that, or you look down at Cody Griffin, Chance Crum, who are 12th and 13th on the qualifying grid, who were top 3 cars in practice?
I don't think it really concerns me too much, because when I compare their practice speed to their qualifying speed, there's not much of a difference. These guys are just all very, very close in speeds, and the slightest little change in your speed is going to pick you up quite a bit. If you look back at the practice sheet, I mean, there was so many guys in the 29.4 range. You go from the fastest guy, Derek Bordeaux, with a 29.40, and you go all the way down to 17th, was a 29.49. So that's 17 drivers that were within 1/10 of each other. So there was a lot of fast guys all right there bunched together. And if you pick up even just a couple hundredths, then you're going to jump way up there. And that's what we saw there in qualifying for Ariati. He went from a 43 in practice to a 38. So he gained about a half a tenth, and that's what put him up there. And then with Nick Northrop, he ran a 29.43 as well in practice, and he ran a 29.41 in qualifying, so he only picked up 200ths and jumped up from 12th in practice to 6th in qualifying. So I don't think it's going to be that big of a deal. I think it was just a matter of they found just a hair bit more speed in the qualifying session, and because these guys are so tight together on the lap times, it made that much of a difference. I don't really think it's going to be anything to be concerned about.
Well, everybody knows where they are going to be at the start of this one. The big question is, where do they end up at the end of the night as qualifying now officially comes to a close? We'll take you down to the grid and give you the double clutch LSRTV starting lineup for tonight's Extreme Motorsports 99.com Xfinity Series All-Star Invitational in Hotlanta. Pole position, as we've mentioned a couple of times, goes to the fastest car in qualifying. Derek Bordeaux with a 29.373 will start from pole position, representing the Sim Racing Authority. Ariati will start alongside in second. Third place to Travis Townsend, Thomas Lee in 5th, and Damon Gilbert rounds out your top 5.
Starting in the 6th position is the number 54, Nick Northrop. We were just talking about him. 7th is Femi Olat. And then one of the RCO Boomtown drivers, Corbin Hemstreet, is 8th. Sean Butler is 9th. And Justin Michael rounds out your top 10.
David Fish will start from 11th position, 12th to Cody Griffin. Chance Crum in 13th, 14th to William Hale, and Kevin C. Ford in 15th.
In the 16th position is Gary Bauer. Ryan Borgs is 17th. George Bark is 18th. Nicholas Doucette is 19th. And Nathan Sedlick is in the 20th position.
I'll tell you, that's a lot of Cora and Narn drivers bunched together right there at the middle of the pack. 21st spot will go to Jason Garrett. Dominic Dyball back in 22nd. Extra on the inside, 23rd to Bobby Chaney. Sal Cardi will roll from 24th. And rounding out your top 25, the 42, that's Bradley Cooper.
In the 26th position is Nathan Shiflett. 27th is Brett Punkari. 28th is Jonathan Shipman. 29th is Rick Donathan. And rounding out the top 30, driving the number 32, is John Hastings.
Matt Moritz will start in 31st position in the number 16 Oakley the Oakley Camry, rather. Next to him is Phil Gary in 32nd position. Tony Rizzuti will start from 33rd in his Ford Mustang, 34th position to the Owen Martin Porter, and Willie Blacker will start 35th.
Starting in the 36th position is David W. Gibson, driving the 03. Jay Anderson is 37th. David Howard Jr. is 38th, and then the last guy that looked to take a serious time was Michael Tibbetts in the 39th position. The last four drivers all elected to run very slow lap times, electing to start from the rear of the field. We have Timothy Lewis starting 40th, Tyler Herr starting 41st, Brandon Cruz Monsive is starting 42nd, and Brian Ray rounds out the field in 43rd.
And it looks like that all 43 of the drivers are going to be starting from the grid as we roll now down to corners 1 and 2, and we get set to get this one underway. You can definitely see where those SRA machines are, the big SRA on the hood of the Sim Racing Authority machines. In 2 All-Star events so far, hosted by Extreme Motorsports 99, they have won both of them, and both of them have been from behind the wheel of Marcus Richardson's machine. Without that driver in the field tonight, does that open up the door for somebody else, or is this heavily stacked SRA front row going to be able to dominate once again? They have 125 laps to survive. So 25 laps shorter than what we saw at Las Vegas, a little bit of a faster race car, and an entirely stacked 43-car grid get to do battle. We're glad to have you with us on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing. 187 miles from green to checker, 6 leagues, only one driver from one of them is going to walk away, and some pretty big bragging rights come along with that. The iRacing.com first Ford Mustang pace car get a sharp turn down to the safety of pit road. We get set to get underway. Green car now on the accelerator. We're underway as that 6 machine of Derek Bordeaux set sail off to quarter number 1 for the first time tonight. No challenge for P1. Second on back's where the fun is. Side by side, Townsend to the inside.
Yeah, Travis Townsend got a really good restart. He's going to be able to move up into the second position as they come off turn 2. He's almost clear of Daria T as they go down the back straightaway. Not quite there. It looks like he's going to clear him as they go off into turn 3. They're single file now through the front 5 positions. Then they're scattering a little bit further back as there's a good little battle going on for around the 10th position here. You got the 41 and the 88 going at it side by side down the front stretch as they go off into turn 1. They're still side by side. The 83 looked 3 wide for a second. He thought better of it. He stays in line behind the 88 and is now setting his sights trying to move past Corbin Hemstreet as they come off 2.
And that was the 83 down on the bottom of Chance Crum, really giving a push to the 88 of Sean Butler. Butler gets clear of the 41 of Corbin Hemstreet, jumps up to the outside lane. That opens up the bottom for the 83. Chance Crum to the inside. This driver started in 13th, but he was one of the drivers that we talked about, did not get a Q run that represented he was the 3rd fastest car in practice. Already 5 spots in 2 laps as he clears the 88 down to quarter number 1. Now just behind him, Corbin Hemstreet going to pull the crossover back to the inside on a Diamond Mountain Dew machine of Sean Butler on the outside lane. They go side by side right now for what is P9, and Chance Crum continuing to storm through the field, gets by the 48 car to take 7th.
Yeah, he is setting sail here in the early stages as now he sets his sights on the number 25 of Damon Gilbert. He's trying to get past him. That'll put him up into the 6th position if he can make the pass. He's right on his back bumper as they go off into turn 1. He almost makes contact with him as they go through the corner there. He drove in a lot further than the 25 did, and now he's going to be able to get to his inside as they work down the back straightaway here. He's got the momentum. He's going to get the run and should make the pass when they get down here into turn 3. He dives it down to the bottom of the racetrack as the 5 gets loose in front of him. Honestly, and the 5 car got really loose, now washes way up the racetrack. That's going to open the door for the 83 of Chance Crum now to move up into the top 5.
And you saw a lot of that from the perspective of Corbin Hemstreet, who was just behind that side-by-side fight with Chance Crum and company. The 5 machine able to hang on to it, but Thomas Lee now up the hill again and almost into the outside wall. Somehow keeps it outside of the safer barrier and stays on track. Everybody behind him scatters down to the bottom. The 43 now, the 62, the 39 continuing to try to get by after already a few miles. That's Sean Butler, Cody Griffin, and the 43 of David Fish got him. Now 1 car's down in the grass on the front straightaway, trying to tiptoe through there, and obviously got to get way out of the throttle. The 35 of Sedlak going to come back up and will be able to hold her down on the apron in the Club Claro line. The Chevrolet Camaro, no issues, but again, turn 4, turn 2, very, very loose. That's the first one we saw get way out of shape.
Yeah, these guys are already beginning to fight with the cars. You see the replay of the number 35.
Back live at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, the caution flag is out for the first time tonight after trouble in corner number 2. Finds Jason Garrett's number 73 Caterpillar Chevrolet. He was on the outside of the line. We've talked about how to try to navigate this racetrack, Brian, where you want to be. The 73 machine was up on the outside of a side-by-side fight. You'll take a look at the double clutch replay right here, trying to find a spot in line very desperately coming into quarter number 2, and just chopped the nose off of the 19. He went around on the back straightaway. You'll see right there, he pulls in line and, just not even close to being clear. Looked like he was going to be good. The 16 machine of Matt Moritz catches him, and about 2-3 cars total going to be involved in that incident. But, he would really wanted to get down on that inside line, and to the point where he was forcing the issue as the leaders hit pit road.
Yeah, that was a tough call. It looks like the spotter probably cleared him there. As now we do have everybody down on pit road coming down. We expect to see this all night long. 4 fresh tires for these drivers. The tires are going to wear out very quickly, as we actually had one. It looks like he might have missed his pit box. That's the number 43 of David Fish. But back to pit road, the 6 car is getting up his left side as we have a 2-tire call by the number 41 of Corbin Hemstreet. He took 2 tires and is going to win the battle off pit road. The 6 is going to come out in second, and then we have a big race farther back behind them here as they come back around.
So the 2-tire strategy for Corbin Hemstreet will put that number 41 Speed 77 Radio Chevrolet to the top of the pile. Behind him, Derek Bordeaux will exit in second. The big advantage that number 6 car is going to have throughout the night is the fact that he qualified on pit road. He will have that number 1 pit stall, which puts him closest to the scoring line when you come out of the pit lane. That could be a really good news for the 6 team as far as making up any positions that they may lose of the night, or overall just defending that top spot. It looks like Travis Townsend will exit the pit lane second behind him. The 11 car was the second to hit pit lane also, so no major change there. You'll see a couple more cars duck down. The 43 of David Fish, who missed his pit stall, and then Nathan Shiflett as well is going to come down pit road this time. By cars that have currently stayed out at this point, only the 42 of Bradley Cooper not electing to come down pit road. He currently sits as the race leader after being the 26th fastest in practice, qualifying in P25 on the inside of row number 13. He's staying out. We thought it was a little bit of a gamble to see Corbin Hemstreet take just 2 tires, considering everybody else wanted 4 fresh Goodyear Eagles. This front row is very interesting, and they got a lot of speed behind him with 4 tires from 3rd on whack to about 43rd.
Yeah, I don't know if I like the call on Bradley Cooper by staying out. Yes, it was only 7 laps, but these tires are going to fall off in a hurry here, and I feel like he's probably going to get swallowed up by the field very quickly within the first lap or 2. And this is going to hurt Corbin Hemstreet, because if he would have been the leader here, at least he would have been able to control the restart and maybe try to put a little bit of a gap on these guys. Taking 2 was a gamble, and now being stuck on the outside for the restart, I just don't know if it's going to work for him. I have a feeling you'll see both of these cars go back in a hurry once we get back going green.
The lights on for the pace car. We get set for our first American Ethanol restart on the evening as the iRacing.com Ford First Mustang pace car going to take the sharp left-hand turn down to the safety of pit road. 42 has from now till the exit of the restart box to get on the loud pedal. There it goes. Green flag flies, and we're backing away from Atlanta Motor Speedway. Good job. Good news for the 41 of Corbin Hemstreet as he gets down in front of Derek Bordeaux, but not very safe as the 6 rides his back bumper through quarters number 1 and 2. It's the fight for second. We're side by side, 2 rows deep with the 54 and the 11 just behind these cars down the back.
Down the back straightaway, there's a little bit of contact for 5th position. I'm trying to see the number there. It looks like that's the 33, or I'm sorry, the 83. That's Chance Crum. Got into the 11 of Travis Townsend. They had a little bit of contact there. They settled it out as now the 83 is trying to get around the 54 as they go down the front straightaway. He has nowhere to go. The 54 through a major block there. It's Nick Northrop in the solid white car that I'm seeing here. Chance Crum now is able to make his move to the inside as they go through 1 and 2. This would move him up into the top 4 if he can get it. He got a little sideways as he came off turn turn 2. That's been the major story all night, is the 54 of Nick Northrop was able to clear him and now gets in line single file. And so far, we're seeing these front 2 guys stay out here, but Bradley Cooper is slowly starting to fall back, as now we have a battle for the lead. Corbin Hemstreet to the inside for the lead as they go across the start-finish line down into turn 1. Derek Bordeaux is going to try to follow him here as they go off into turn 1 and try to clear him for second.
And once Bradley Cooper finds himself on the outside, it is going to be a long road to hoe trying to hang on. The 41 gets clear, slides up to the high side, and immediately down to the bottom of the racetrack. Down to quarter number 3 goes Derek Bordeaux, side by side for the race lead on lap 13. 41 machine on the outside, Corbin Hemstreet on 2 tires. It's the 4 stickers for the Sim Racing Authorities, number 6 of Derek Bordeaux. Back to the top spot, 18 100ths of a second to the good at the start-finish line. He'll get clear now into the corner, and the same issues that we were just talking about with Bradley Cooper, who, by the way, has already fallen to 9th with getting stuck to the outside, may be the big concern for the 41 car. Caution flag now flies as they go side by side into quarter 1. Trouble down the back straightaway will slow him down. It looks like trouble with the 31 machine. Willie Black, the yellow flag does fly.
Yeah, I'm looking here, and it looks like he just got a little sideways off the corner, and it was just another situation. He got loose. He actually made contact with a car there, but it blinked out. I couldn't get the number. Doesn't look like there was any harm to the car that he made contact with, but it did destroy the number 31 machine as he made heavy contact with the outside wall and is going to have to bring it down pit road, most likely with a meatball flag. He's going to have to come in and get it fixed before he can go back out there. That was a very hard hit, and it's going to be extremely difficult to come back from that. Now, these drivers are presented with a little bit of an issue. This was another 5-6 lap run. They could possibly come back down and take tires, but they might elect to stay out because now we're starting to see a little bit of a habit with some cautions here. As they're working through turns 3 and 4, I assume the pit road will be open. We should be able to tell if they're going to come to pit road here in just a moment, as the leader looks like he's going to bring them down. He's coming down to the apron, and they're going to come down for more tires here, as Corbin Hemstreet's actually going to stay out. He took 2 tires on the last stop, and he's going to stay out this time. Everybody else, it looks like, has come down to pit road and looks to get more tires.
A tough spot to be in up at the front of the field is you really don't know what the guys behind you are going to do, but for Corbin Hemstreet, getting up front on the 2-tire call, come down with everybody else, you're back on even strength with them. You can consider it a win. However, the 41 machine stays out. The 6 car of Derek Bordeaux leads us down to the pit lane. Does anybody else go for a shot at 2 tires? It looks like all 4 for the drivers that led us down pit road. No challenge to Derek Bordeaux. Off. Here comes the 51, though. Hold up. Nicholas Doucette will come from 8th position in the True Speed Motorsport Chevy Camaro. That is your 1 car that takes 2 tires this time around.
Yeah, and I'm looking, we have to wait for the scoring to officially update, but we do have several drivers that looks like might have stayed out with Corbin Hemstreet here. It looks like Sal Accardi might have stayed out. He was in the 8th position prior to that, and he's now should be scored right behind him. Also, the number 88 of Sean Butler stayed out. We have a few guys back here. Justin Michael, Dominic Dybel, it looks like Phil Gary, all these guys elected to stay out as well. So we have a few guys that are going to take a chance. That's really going to play in the favor of Corbin Hemstreet. He's going to have a lot of cars between him and fresh tires, so this might work out where it's not going to hurt him as much as we thought it was going to. Now, if we do get a long green flag run, I fully expect those guys that just came in and took 4 tires will come back to the front, but it'll at least give Corbin Hemstreet and some of these other guys that stayed out an opportunity to stay up front, and maybe if they get a caution after 10 or 15 laps, they'll be on an equal playing field like you were talking about, Evan, where they won't have to worry about being offset with 2 tires versus 4 tires. They can come in if we get a caution in 15 laps or so, and everybody's going to take 4 tires at that point.
So Derek Bordeaux, who does not win the race off the pit lane this time by, but again is the first car off on 4 tires, is going to find his SRA Chevy in 7th position on the racetrack. That'll stack him up on the inside of row number 4. In front of him in 6th position, the outside of the next row up, you'll find that 51 of Nicholas Doucette. That car is on a 2-tire strategy. Everybody else in front is on the no-stop call this time through. Dominic Dyball's number 15 in 5th position. Justin Michaels' 020 machine in 4th. Sal Accardi's 45. Sean Butler's 88 in 2nd. And then your race leader, Corbin Hemstreet's 41. How much advantage do you think you're going to give to guys like Butler, Accardi, Michael, and Dyball, who are 2nd through 5th, over a guy like Himstreet. It's not as simple as chalking it up like Doucette's got 2, everybody else behind him's got 4, and the guys in front of them are all even, because you got to think the 41 may be still at a little bit of a disadvantage in comparison to some of these other guys around him.
Yeah, he might be to a little bit of a disadvantage, but some of these guys were pretty far back in the field, and I feel like they might not have had the speed that he had. Looking at some of the practice speeds, the only one that really stands out as having any real speed during practice was Sean Butler. He was 14th fastest in practice. The rest of them were pretty far down the practice charts, and they weren't really that close to these guys that were up front. So I don't know that he's going to be at a disadvantage as far as those guys are concerned. Sean Butler probably would be his biggest competition, and he was on pit road on the last caution and took 4 tires, so certainly he would have a little bit of an advantage. But I think his bigger concern is going to be if we get a long green flag run, say 30 or 40 laps. I have a feeling all these guys that just came down and took another set of 4 fresh tires are really going to come to the front and probably drive away from him once they get by him.
Well, we saw that once the machine that stood out the last time by, that 88 got stuck to the high side, went very backwards very quickly, was 9th in half of a lap. Now that you got a whole bunch of cars from back of the pack and a couple of them on older sets of tires in front of the fast guys, it may not be that easy as just going to the inside on getting around them. Going to be a very exciting third stint of this race off of our second caution flag. Pace car down and away, Corbin Himstreet in control, absolutely wasting no time as that driver gets on the loud pedal. Green flag flies at the start-finish line, and no challenge. 4 car lengths to the good for the RCO Boomtown Chevy. He's clear over Sean Butler, who can't get to the inside. Salacardi slides that machine into second, and will get the spot through quarter number 2. Not quite clear, though, the 88 fighting back with a run off the banking, but it looks like a Cardi going to get the upper hand back down to quarter 3. 88 trying to come down in line, and the 020's there, side by side for third.
Yeah, these guys are trying to sort it all out as the 45 of Salacardi is going to move into the second position, but he's about 5 car lengths behind Corbin Hemstreet as he go off into turn 1. Meanwhile, the battle for 7th is hot right now with Derek Bordeaux, who started on the pole and has led the majority of this race. He's now having to fight through this traffic here, and he's not going as far as he wanted to. Chance Grum looked like he was going to make it 3 wide. He decided better of it. He's going to stay behind the 6 for the time being. But so far on this restart, neither of these drivers have really moved up with the 4 fresh tires like we thought they would. They've actually kind of stayed right where they are. I have a feeling they'll start moving as they get settled in. As now the 6th of Derek Bordeaux is able to move up into the 6th position, now sets his sights on the 15 of Dominic Dybel. He's going to try to take that 5th position away as they come off turn 2 here, working down the back straightaway. He gets a little sideways off the corner, and he's still going to have the momentum, it looks like. He's not going to be able to make the passes. They are scattering behind him as well. Travis Townsend got really loose off the corner in the 11 car, and now he's trying to gather it up and get back in it.
An interesting scenario with the number 51 machine at Nicholas Doucette, who took 2 tires. He went backwards very quickly after getting pinned on the outside, very similar to what we saw happen with the other cars that stayed out on the last cycle of pit stops. But the guys up front, again, there's so many of them that it puts that 6 of Derek Bordeaux, who is leading this charge of cars on fresh tires through. He's got a lot of traffic to work through. He was in the middle of a little bit 2-3 wide at times. You see now down to quarter 3 where all of this action's going on. The 15 up on the high side just behind him, but it's that bright yellow machine getting a little bit squirrely off of quarter number 4, who's really making a headway up to P5 within a second right now. Himstreet's good by half a second. It's 5/10 back to Salacardi in second. Justin Michaels, Sean Butler are the top 4. Those are the drivers that stayed out. A couple of them have already succumbed to the 6 of Bordeaux, who's currently P5, and the 6 does not show that he's intending to slow down anytime soon, as we have a lot of battling just behind these guys. 3 wide as the 15 car up to the high side. Dominic Dyball with the bobble back in the back. You take a look at his machine from the chopper camera. He will slide back. They'll get around him. Not after a couple of them, though. Got real close to the infield grass there. Good battle as well with the 62 of William Hale and the 48 on the outside of Fimai Olat. But the battle inside the top 5 rages on, and it is old Derek Bordeaux's number 6 on the attack.
Yeah, Derek Bordeaux is doing a good job now starting to pick these guys off. The thing he needs to be careful about right now is, yes, he's got the freshest tires out of anybody up here in the top 5, as he got a little loose off turn 4 and almost made contact with the turn 4 wall. He's very fortunate to have a teammate behind him there in Chance Crum, but he's got to be very careful not to overuse these tires here. He doesn't want to get them where they're worn out and then take that advantage away from himself, because he has an opportunity to run away with this race if it stays green. But if he chews those tires up, that's not going to be the case. He's going to allow these guys to get on an equal playing field with him, and then he's not going to be able to take advantage of having the 4 fresh tires, as these two look to be working together very nicely here. The 83 of Chance Crum is staying right on the back bumper. They're doing what we were talking about in the pre-race. They are drafting together here to get more speed down the straightaways, and it's helping both of them run these guys down. So this is a very good call, staying single file behind one another right now, as we do have a little bit of a battle right behind them. The 11 of Travis Townsend is working to the inside of that number 88 of Sean Butler. They have a very intense battle here going through 3 and 4. Looks like the 11 is going to be able to make the pass and bring the 54 of Nick Northrop with them as they come off turn 4.
You see a lot of these guys really starting to cheat that white line coming out of quarter 4, because if they're chasing that up the hill and they're giving it a little bit more wheel, you saw it even with that 6 of Bordeaux. Very, very loose these race cars are. You saw that 83 pushing that 6 car. Any other time you might say he's trying to shove him off into the corner, but again, both of those drivers out of the SRA camp working very good together. They've sliced half a second off of the gap that Corbin Hemstreet has, so it's down to 0.5 of a second between that race leader and Bordeaux in 4th. They're going to go to the inside on the 020 machine, as now actually Justin Michael goes side by side with Salicardi in front of the 6 and the 83. A little bit of a roadblock. I wouldn't be surprised, Brian, if they throw it 3 wide. May not be the smartest idea. Looks like the 020 adjusted Michael with a small advantage. May just follow that Chevy through on the inside, and it looks like that will happen as the 6 gets a nose in on the quarter panel of Salicardi. 45 now trapped up on the outside sideways. Very close to coming down into the 6 there. Close call for your Derek Bordeaux machinist. I tell you, Salicardi just about doored him in 4.
Derek really needs to be careful right here, because these guys are skating around, and if he gets in the wrong place at the wrong time, it's going to end up ruining his chances to get back to the lead. He's clearly got one of the best cars. He might have the best car, so he really needs to be careful here. Still just under 100 laps to go, so he doesn't need to be in any big rush. I'll tell you who this has helped a lot, though, so far is Corbin Hemstreet. He's managed to hang on to a half a second lead, and it looks like he's actually starting to extend that just a little bit. Actually, take that back. He lost about a half a tenth. I'm sorry. But he's doing a very good job maintaining this lead on those 2 sets of tires, two tires. I'm sorry, I'll get it right eventually. 2 tires out there, and he's doing a good job holding on to the lead right now. Derek Bordeaux is going to have to try to get around the 020 of Justin Michael very quickly, because at some point the tires are going to stop being an advantage, because he's driven this car pretty hard here at the beginning of this run. So he really needs to take advantage of it. As you can see, these guys are working through some lap traffic here. We've got the 100 Hot Wheels machine of George Barton giving way to the leaders here. Also the 31 of Willie Blacker. He was involved in our most recent caution. They're giving way to the leaders here, as now you see the 020 trying to close in on Corbin Hemstreet. He was able to cut another half a tenth off, and he's starting to run him down.
Hemstreet again playing and flirting with that 0.4 of a second gap, but Justin Michael showing a good amount of speed, and he's bringing Bordeaux, Chance Crum, and such with him. You saw the replay not all that long ago on the LSRTV side-by-side, the double clutch replay. You saw the near incident there with Salicardi's machine. That machine has already began to drop significantly in the field, now 17th in the blink of an eye. You get up on the outside, it's not the preferred way around the racetrack. The car gets very loose. You can catch the fence, and just like that, you go from a top 3 to a 17th place car after really what was looking like a decent strategy call. You get stuck over the outside, and these guys aren't really going to play all that nice. Look at the 6 car driving to the inside. This battle now up inside of the top 3 of the racetrack as you watch some of the action going on mid-pack. That bright yellow 6 car of Derek Bordeaux to the bottom. The 020 machine didn't really give him the inside, Brian, but again, threw that first dogleg in the tri-oval, just stuck it to the inside, got the spot. Now the 83 going to take advantage of the 6 as that move didn't work to the inside, and in the 3rd goes Chance Crum. Almost got Justin Michael also.
Yeah, he drove it off into the corner there in turn 3 and almost made contact with that 020 of Justin Michael. this is still helping Corbin Hemstreet, because when these guys get side by side, it breaks their draft and it keeps them from being able to close up on him as quickly as they were. Those three working together when they were about a half a second behind him, that's what allowed them to run him back down. They stayed single file and they were able to run him down very quickly. But now that they're starting to race each other, this is going to play in favor of Corbin Hemstreet, because he's obviously starting to feel the effects of only having 2 tires, and these guys are coming. But if they get side by side again, as the 83 is trying to chase down Justin Michael, he's not quite able to get there as they go through turns 1 and 2, but he is getting there very quickly, and it's just a matter of time before he's going to make that pass, and then he's going to have to try to make it as quickly as possible. As Corbin Hemstreet gets loose off 2, that's going to open the door for Justin Michael to look to the inside for the race lead. Just like that, Corbin Hemstreet made a mistake, and now they are battling side by side for the lead through 3 and 4. Chance Crum looks like he might try to make it 3 wide off turn 4. He doesn't have the momentum to do it yet. Derek Bordeaux is there. This is a 4-way battle for the lead on lap 36, going out into turn 1.
3 of these cars that are on the attack here can all easily make work of Corbin Hemstreet on the fresh tires. They do so. Justin Michael will get clear at a corner 2. Big bomb on the 41. Corbin Hemstreet is in the outside wall. That makes it easy work for Chance Crum and Derek Bordeaux to go on through. Hemstreet will fall to 4th on the racetrack, does have a good gap back to P5. Travis Townsend over a second back to the leaders as he starts to close in on the 41, but that was a pretty solid lick. 41 might have to limp around for a little bit. Now side by side for the top spot, Chance Crum, who was sitting and was working with the 6 of Derek Bordeaux for the longest time, took advantage of a attempted pass for the lead on the 6 machine, and now he'll drop back.
And we have a caution down the back straightaway. The 62 of William Hale got loose off the corner and spun it back up into the racing surface. Very fortunate, though, that no drivers made contact with him. There was 3 or 4 drivers that easily could have gotten into him, but they all dove to the safety of the apron and avoided him. Then there was another host of drivers that had to avoid him as he got his car rolling, as we have our, I believe, 3rd caution of the race here after a very long run. Well, the replay is going up now. You'll see the 62 as he got loose off turn 2. Overcorrected back into the outside wall, and then you saw a whole host of drivers have to scatter to avoid him down the back straightaway here, as now the field is catching up to the iRacing Ford First Mustang pace car, and they're getting ready to be set for another round of pit stops. We expect to see all these drivers come down for 4 tires. Do we not, Evan?
You got to think, after what's been the longest green flag stint of the race, that it is going to be the general consensus as everybody gets behind a pace car. Not only did they have to look out for that 62 spin it across the racetrack the first time, but then even getting back going and getting back up to speed, he was still in a vulnerable spot as you had cars ducking to the inside, ducking to the outside, everybody able to survive. The leaders now on the pit lane, they're led by Justin Michael. Big thing here to look at is he'll be in the 10th pit stall, and Chance Crum right now second. He'll be in the 13th pit stall from pit road. You see them hit pit road a lot sooner than what Derek Bordeaux has to do. The 6 machine enters in 3rd. How much of an advantage, if any, will that give him? Trouble just behind him. The 27 car overshoots it a little bit. That's going to cost the 27 car a little bit of time. Some drivers still hit the pit lane, but you don't see anybody flying out with 2 tires quite yet. Here's the race off the pit road, and it's going to go to Chance Crum. The 83 Chevy storms to the top of the board out of pit lane. He trails by Justin Michael and the 6 car in 3rd position. Derek Bordeaux, no plus or minus on that cycle. He will stay in that spot on the racetrack. George Bark stays out this time by. That driver is 8 laps down with a damaged Hot Wheels Chevy, so Brian, he's just looking for a wave by. Same situation with the number 31 Willie Blacker. We just saw that Goodwrench Service Plus machine at an incident not all that long ago. He's 2 laps down, and he has to wait before pit road is open to him. And then you got the 68 of Phil Gary. Lead lap car. That Chevy right now may come down pit road this time. He will, and that's going to put things right back where they were. But how about Chance Crum swapping out the top spot with the 020 machine of Justin Michael? That is bad news if you're that 20. Not only because you lost the top spot, but it's going to put those SRA teammates bumper to bumper in 1st and 3rd on the inside of the 1st and 2nd rows.
Yeah, and if they work together like they have been pretty much the whole race, their Chance is probably going to count Derek down here on the restart so that they can get a good jump at the same time and get clear of Justin Michael and then take control of this race lead. I've done this very many times with my teammates in the Timmy Hill Motorsports camp, and it's just something that you do to try to work together. That way you can try to settle the race between the two of you. Granted, we still have about 85 laps to go, so there's still a ton of time for that to happen, but it still just allows these guys to get out front, and they can work together with the draft and maybe try to get away from these guys. It's going to be a very big factor on this restart. You're going to see those two drivers probably pull away from the field right off the bat because they're going to be able to count each other down. That's going to play very much so against the 0-2-0 of Justin Michael. And how about Corbin Hemstreet? I expected him to sit there and try to get some damage fixed because he made a lot of heavy contact with that outside wall a few laps ago. I'm very surprised that he didn't sit there and let them fix that car. Enough time where he could have gotten back up through the field and still been a contender. Maybe he feels like the car isn't damaged that badly. He had a few laps to feel it out after he made that contact. So apparently him and his crew must not have felt like that car needed to be repaired, but I can still see some pretty heavy right side damage where it looks like maybe they should have sat there and tried to work on it just a little bit.
This time by, the lights on top of the pace car do go out, and we get set for another American Ethanol restart. We're currently working under our third caution flag of the evening. We're happy to have you with us tonight on LSRTV. You're watching the Extreme Motorsports 99.com Xfinity Series All-Star Invitational featuring the best of the best from the North American Racing Network, the United Sim Racing Series, the Championship Online Racing Association, the Sim Racing Authority, Extreme Motorsports 99, and the Back Speed Racing League as they all do battle SRA 1-3 right now, and they're looking to do something. Good news for the 41 of Corbin Hemstreet is he's in the positive after starting in 8th. Although he did get in the wall, Brian, looks like they got that car fixed pretty good. Not major damage on that machine. He'll be on the outside of the second row for this restart. Nicholas Doucette sits in 5th. 6th is Travis Townsend. Ryan Borges now up to 7th from 17th. 8th position is Ariati. You got Nick Northrop in 9th, and 10th is Bobby Cheney. It is an all Chevrolet-powered top 10 for this restart. The pace car going to get down and out of the way. 83 in control. Look for him and the 6 to try to get something going as Bordeaux tries to get back to the top spot. Chance Crow wants to lead his first lap of the race in the green flag conditions. Green flag flies, and in perfect unison, both the 83 and the 6 sail off to corner 1. They will get clear and go to 1-2. The 20 machine has to duck back in line. That's Justin Michael. He'll settle for 3rd. 4th position to Doucette, and the first side-by-side fight sees a terrible restart from Corbin Hemstreet, putting the 41 way back up high.
Yeah, he really struggled to get going there. And for the first time tonight, all these drivers, for the first time since the initial start, all these drivers are on equal tires, so it's going to be an equal battle through the field here. Corbin Hemstreet trying to recover from that horrible restart as he's now battling side by side with the 39 of Ryan Borges. They are still side by side as they go off into turn 1 here, trying to get clear of Corbin Hemstreet. And it looks like he's not quite going to be able to do it as he come off turn 2, as now the 27 looks like he's going to make it 3 wide down the back straightaway. He ducks back in line. He had the momentum and then lost it because he got a little loose. And now Corbin Hemstreet trying to use that momentum on the outside line. He had the run going off into the corner, but lost it as they go through 3 and 4. Ryan Borges is going to be able to clear the pass, or clear and make the pass, and that sets up for the 27 of Ariati now to the inside of the 41 of Corbin Hemstreet.
Ryan Borges aimed at the scene victory lane, many a time here on LSRTV, goes down to the inside and well clear as he cycles at a 2 on lap 44 to be able to take over P6. Check up down the back now, big trouble. Caution flag flies as the field cycles at a 2. Big contact for the 36, Gary Bauer, up and over in the Bud Light lime machine. Heavy damage to the 42 of Bradley Cooper. Also, at safety clean, caution flag does fly on lap 44. The 36 wasn't part of what started it all. Trouble early for the 42 in the corner, Bradley Cooper, as we work on getting the double clutch replay up for you. Looks like Bradley Cooper in the old school motorsports machine was on the bottom, and I talked about how people were really hugging that white line, Brian, because they don't want to have to give it a lot of wheel. The 42, you'll see when the replay goes up, started to drift up, had to give it a lot of wheel, got sideways, and the guys behind him just couldn't get around, and some big licks for a lot of those drivers. Big wreck.
Yeah, that was a multi-car incident, and there was another incident in front of these guys. While this was going on, the 0-1 of Martin Porter, he also lost it, and unfortunately for him, after he got done spinning, he tried to get the car rolling, and somebody came in and hit him after the fact. He was good until that happened. He spun down the back straightaway, didn't hit anything, didn't get hit by anybody, but when he tried to get the car rolling, there was a late hit there. Something that we refer to as ARCA brakes in the iRacing world. That's kind of what happened there. Is the driver was, I'm not sure who it was, but he just came in late and hit the 0-1 extremely hard on the right front and destroyed the motor, and most likely took him out of this race for the evening, as we actually did see the 0-1 park it for the night. Or I'm sorry, he's actually on pit road right now trying to get damage fixed. It was a very unfortunate set of circumstances. None of the leaders elected to come to pit road there, which is no surprise to me at all. They had only a couple of laps on their tires and no need to come to pit road. Just stay out there and keep your track position. And what this now does is this is going to put the 6 of Derek Bordeaux on the outside, so he's going to have to time this restart a little differently than he had to on the first one, or on the most recent one. On the last one, he started in the 3rd position. This time he's starting on the outside, so they're going to have to work together a little bit differently to try to get the 6 of Derek Bordeaux clear to the inside on the restart here.
So you saw both of those incidents on the racetrack. The first one at a 2, the other one midway down the back straightaway. 2 big wrecks put us under the caution flag once again from Atlanta. Slowly close it in. About 1/3 of the way through tonight's Extreme Motorsports 99 Xfinity All-Star Invitational on LSRTV. We'll take this quick opportunity to take a small caution flag of our own. We'll step away. We'll be back for the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway in just a moment.
It's been a very long offseason. Teams have changed, sponsors have changed, colors and all, but one thing that hasn't, they like to mash the loud pedal. Green flag is out on the 2015 NASCAR Peak Antifreeze Series season.
iRacing is the ideal platform for these broadcasts because we have the best racers, the best online racers in the world, and we have such a variety of racing, from NASCAR to Grand Prix style racing, sports car, endurance racing. We do it all.
Since 2010, the iRacing.com World Championship Grand Prix Series has been the absolute pinnacle of road racing in a simulated form. Great start then by Yakoda from the front. They're packing up behind number 1. They're going to be 4 wide as they come down into turn number 1 for the first time. Will they make it through that first corner? You can see them funneling through the center S's. It looks as though everyone has just about made it through. We have got ourselves some contact though, Rachel.
Side by side going into turns 3 and 4. Humpy's got the advantage, but Ottinger's not going to.
Oh, he got into him!
Ottinger gets into the 58, turns right into him, and that ends Ottinger's run.
We do a lot of live broadcasts now. Every Tuesday is NASCAR night, so on alternating Tuesdays we do the Peak Antifreeze Series, and on the other Tuesdays the B-Class Series, which is the Xfinity cars, and sometimes we'll even do some short track racing depending on the schedule. Every other Saturday we do the iRacing World Championship Grand Prix Series, so the best road racers we have. And we also broadcast some special events, including the Endurance Championship, which is part of the Road Warrior Series. So we broadcast the Daytona 24, the Sebring 12-hour, we'll do the Watkins Glen 6-hour, several other races along there. And then, of course, the iRacing Pro Racing Champions, which is usually our biggest and most watched event of the year.
That is short track racing, and that's how awesome this sim is, Joe. That's something you see on TV on highlight reels, and we just saw it here, live.
We invite iRacers who are real-world racers, and they compete every December.
Back live at the Atlanta Motor Speedway, green flag just now back in the air as we sail off through 1 and 2 side by side. Battles going on inside the top 5, inside the top 10, but it is a hornet's nest around this fight. You're taking a look at the 51 Nick Doucette. He's on the outside of the 27, the 39, the 24 in that first group. Then you got the 41, the 43. One car in the wall down the back straightaway. Caution flag now flies right away yet again. Trouble down the back into corner number 3. And the pace car will be deployed after everybody fighting throughout the pack there. Going to throw a caution flag. Trouble down the back straightaway at a quarter number 3, rather. Looks like maybe the 33 involved. The 44 is a little bit slow coming out of the quarter as well. Nonetheless, one car gets in the wall. It goes downhill very quickly, and we're back under yellow.
Yeah, it looked like the 33 got into the wall going down the back straightaway, and he just lost it going through the corner. And then the 45 actually came in late and just had nowhere to go and got into him. So it looks to be about a 2-car incident, nothing major, but enough to bring the caution back out and gather these guys back up. One person I want to talk about real quick, a guy that was leading not too long ago, Corbin Hemstreet. He has struggled mightily since that most recent restart prior to this one. He dropped all the way back to the 10th position, and now he's on pit road. They have elected to come down. It looks like maybe to work on that car some, or maybe just to get 4 fresh tires. He was going backwards anyway, so this might be a good call for him. Also coming to pit road is the 3 of Cody Griffin. So there's a few drivers there that elected to come to pit road here and try to get 4 fresh tires, as Corbin Hemstreet actually slides into the inside wall as he slid into his pit box. That's going to make it very hard for his crew to get that left side up to get 4 fresh tires. As the 41 here, he managed to get the left side tires up. They are just going to take 4 tires. They didn't take any time to work on the car. They're going to get away and come back out onto the racetrack, but he's going to lose a ton of track position here because not very many people elected to come to pit road with him. Only a handful of drivers came down.
So again, a little bit of a mixing of the pot per se as far as these last 2 caution flags. Not everybody coming down in unison like we saw pretty much at the beginning of this race. You take a look at the replay with that 41 machine coming down to the pit lane and going into the stall. A lot of the time these guys will just lock him up, sail him in there. The 41, I think the wall almost helped him from overshooting his pit stall, but he does bring that machine to a rest and able to get the service easily completed on that race car. So we look back up at the front of the field. Chance Crum leads over Derek Bourdeau. These machines have been very, very even. You can see, though, that although they're racing together, Brian, because they both have SRA on the hood, you know, within their own championships, in their own league, they could very well be racing against each other week in, week out. So it was very interesting to see earlier on. We touched on it a little bit, but they were going too wide throughout the pack. Really didn't get to talk about it a lot. But you saw that 83 was pushing the 6 for a lot of it. Bourdeau went to the inside on your race leader, tried to make a move, couldn't do it, and then Chance Crum took advantage of it. So although they're working together, although you saw them work together on that last restart, may very well try to do the same thing here as they'll occupy the front row. You got to trust them to an extent, but you can't put all your faith in them because at the end of the day, only one person gets the checkered flag in it.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. Right now, they're working together with 75 laps to go. They have plenty of time to work together. But when we get down inside 20 to go, this teammate thing that we're seeing happen is going to go away. They're not going to work together anymore. And one thing I just noticed here, I was just riding on board with the 83 of Chance Crum. He's clutching it right now, almost like he's trying to save fuel. I'm not sure if that's anything significant because I know they're going to have to come to pit road at least one more time. But it might be a situation where maybe they can just do a splash and go towards the end of the run and then make it to the end on fuel. I'm not really sure exactly what the fuel window is. I'd have to venture to say it's somewhere around 55 to 60 laps. So maybe if they save a little bit of fuel, they can only put 3 or 4 gallons in the car and then make it to the end. That's the only thing I can really figure out that they might be trying to do. Not that I expect this thing to stay green, however. We've had quite a few cautions here in the first 50 laps. I don't think we'll see it stay green to the end, but this is setting themselves up if it does, as the lights are off on the iRacing Ford First Mustang, and we are going to go back green next time by, and we're going to have to find out what these guys are up to.
So an update on the 020 machine. Justin Michael exited the pit lane in 3rd spot. He pulled down to the pit lane, came to a complete stop, and has not returned to the racing surface. That car has fallen all the way back to 30th already. Does not look like he'll be coming back anytime soon. And there you go. It's going to pop up on our end of things in the sim. He receives a throughput fall to an unacceptable level. Basically, he has dropped connection from the iRacing sim. He can load her back in, but best case scenario, multiple laps down, just like that. The iRacing equivalency, as I like to say, of a mechanical failure happening to that team. Tough break. Good news for the guys behind him is that's going to slide everybody on the inside up. So 5th up to 3rd, 7th up to 5th. Everybody on the inside steps up a row to compensate for that. But it is Derek Bordeaux and Chance Crum on the front row for this next restart, coming off of the 5th caution flag on the evening. The pace car, sharp left-hand turn, down and out of the way. Bordeaux, Crum, do they work it together yet again? Green flag flies, a good start for everybody behind him. The 83 set sail to the start-finish line. Again, no challenge for P1 or 2 as the 6 ducks in line. Looks like the 11 to Travis Townsend with the assist to the 27, who's all over the back end of him, is going to be able to get clear for 3rd. Battle now 5th on back as Bobby Cheney to the inside on Nick Doucette.
Yeah, these guys are battling really hard here, trying to get as much as they can. They've noticed we've had a host of cautions, so they don't expect a lot of green flag runs, so they're racing really hard here as they go through 3 and 4, trying to get everything they can as the number 24 of Bobby Cheney is going to be able to almost make the pass on the 51 of Nicholas Doucette. Not quite able to clear him yet, but he's going to make that pass here. They go through 1 and 2, then he gets a little tight on the entry to the corner. He slid up the track and had to get out of the gas. That allows the 51 to get back to his outside. They're still side by side down the back straightaway, and he's holding up a few guys right behind him here as these guys are all trying to get as much as they can very quickly here. The 48 is right on the back bumper of Bobby Cheney as they go through 3 and 4. He's looking like he might try to duck under him off the corner. He thinks better of it. They're still side by side for the 5th position here as they go off into turn 1.
The 83 and the 6, meanwhile, are trying to set sail in their own regard up at the front of the field, but we continue to fight for 5th position. Bobby Cheney finally will slide up in front of the 51 Nick Doucette down the back straightaway to quarter number 1, but the 24 car up into that P5 spot. Doucette, although he's got speed, he may even be faster than these cars he's fighting with. He's stuck on the outside. We have seen so many times tonight that is not the place you want to be. That inside stacked up all over each other. The 48 machine out of SRA following his teammate through on the bottom. That's Vimiolat working with that 24 car. Behind him is Ryan Borges. Takes speak to the inside. That door is shut closed very quickly, and now we actually begin to see Nick Doucette fight back on the outside. Not something that we've seen a lot of tonight, but 24 struggling with the handling into the corner. Good run by that 51, so this shows me, Brian, that Doucette may be faster than these guys that he's racing with down low, but again, track position so key, and the 51 found himself on the outside for the restart. That's why he's having such a tough time getting clear.
Yeah, he's really struggling to get clear of these guys, but I think if he's able to do it, as they almost made contact off too, I think if he's able to make the pass and get clear of that 24, as he looks like he's going to be able to, but he's going to have to stay high. He couldn't get arced down. He does clear the 24 Bobby Cheney, and I think now that we've seen that, you'll see him start to drive away from these guys, because I do agree. I think he's got a faster car than all these guys that he's racing against right now. I think he can get up there and challenge those leaders. It was just an unfortunate set of circumstances being stuck on the outside, but I'm watching him here, and he's still kind of running that middle groove through the corner. He has nobody to his inside, and he's still running that groove, so maybe that's where he's comfortable at right now. These guys were not able to get to his inside, and he's still kind of running up there. Again, through 3 and 4, he's going to run that middle groove, and it just looks like maybe he's more comfortable up there right now as he's trying to pull the 43 of David Fish around with him on the outside. The 24 not able to do anything on the inside right now. It's kind of a reverse set of roles right now as the outside line looks to be the quicker lane with that 24 holding the inside line up.
You look on the bumper there at Nick Doucette now as he gets clear of that melee behind him. The outside, though, coming to life around that 24 car who has the inside spots, got the preferred lane, but can't do anything with it. Give it to David Fish on the outside. That machine going to be able to duck back in front of the 24. He'll take P6, and Ryan Borges as well. 8th last time by the start-finish line. Going to take 7th spot. Not quite clear on the 24 yet, but at about a half a car length advantage at the start-finish line. Now he'll get clear, and so far the 51, the 43, now the 39. 3 drivers have been able to pass the SRA duo of the 24 and the 48, who have had the bottom. Interesting role reversal, as you said, and the outside fighting back later on in this race. The closest battle inside the top 5 cars right now is for the top spot. Chance Crum, one of the biggest movers, started 13th up to 1st right now, continues to lead over Derek Bordeaux, who would like to pull the sweep that we saw Marcus Richardson do 1 week ago at Las Vegas in the Cape Road Truck Series All-Star, and that is be fastest in practice, win qualifying, get pole position, and then go on to win the race. Right now, he sits behind him in second. Slowly but surely, they're pulling away from third on back. Third is the 11 Travis Townsend, just 5/10 off, and really trying to make sure that those cars don't get pulled that far away. Will actually make up 3/100ths the last time by. But as they continue to do battle again up at the front of the field, a couple of fights going on in the middle of the pack. How about the 19 car up on the high side? That's Brett Pucari. He's fighting with the 7 up the hill, contacted into the wall. Goes the 19 of Brett Pucari. Heavy contact for that Ford Mustang. In the fence all the way down to corner 3. He gets it off, but not only does he lose a lot of time, but that's some pretty good damage on that race car. It was David Howard Jr., Brian, that he was side by side with. The 7 stepped it up the hill, got into him, put him in the fence, and the car that initiates the contact drives on through, and the guy that's the innocent victim, and it's in the fence, and he's struggling to get it back up to speed.
Yeah, we have another one in the wall up there. I'm trying to get a number here. It looks like that is the 44 of Brandon Cruz. He's a lap down. It looks like he was just getting out of the way, but he made contact with the wall down the back straightaway there. So very tense moment for these lead lap cars as they were trying to get by him. Somebody I want to talk about real quick. He started 20th on this most recent restart, and he's moved up to the 14th position. That's Corbin Hemstreet. As we have something going on in the middle of 1 and 2 is I'm trying to get a number here. Tyler Herr in the number 20 got really out of control going through the corner, and he got checked up and caused everybody to scatter here, and that really hurt Corbin Hemstreet, who I was just speaking about. As now they're in the wall. The 20 of Tyler Herr and the 5 of Thomas Lee are in the wall. No caution because they kept the car straight, but heavy contact. They got together going off into turn 3, and now the 20 is coming to pit road. The 5 is going to stay out on the racetrack for the time being, but both those cars have heavy damage and are certainly going to be out of contention now.
And that 5 damaged may have wanted to come down to pit road, but may have just not even been able to get down there. Has to stay on the racetrack. All hell breaking loose in the last 2 to 3 laps in this one. Cars in the fence. You saw a lot of drivers. The 44 was one of them, just diving down to the apron, trying to get back up to speed after they had to get around a blocked racetrack down the back. So all of a sudden, a lot of cars working with some pretty significant damage. Now trouble for the 73 machine. Jason Garrett, the Caterpillar Chevy, up into the outside retaining wall. He is slow on the front straightaway. He's in the fence again down to corner number 1. So big trouble now for the 73, who is sitting 9 laps down right now, trying to work his way around some of the traffic here on the racetrack. You see him on the top of your screen, slowing to get the pit road. Everybody just trying to get back in some sort of a rhythm, and race control get a black flag to 73, forced that car down.
Yeah, he was not meeting minimum speed requirement, and I feel like the admin says we have a caution out on the racetrack, but I think the admins were just trying to get him off the track because they felt like he was a hazard. We do have to try to figure out what happened here for this, I believe, the 6th caution of the day, going to slow these guys down. Still searching to figure out where the wreck was at. It looks like the 42 of Bradley Cooper went around in turns 1 and 2. He's down on the apron, slow and off the pace. I'm trying to figure it out here. Right now, my screen is not showing him on track. It looks like he might have been having some connection issues. As I see him come back on the screen, he's just spinning and doing a couple of 360s up by the wall. So evidently, he lost control of that car in the middle of 1 and 2 and wrecked it there. And now he pulls off the track and is going to have to get some repairs done, as that car is smoking heavily right now, and he's going to have to come down to pit road.
He was slow, and there was a big single file line of lead lappers coming flying up on the bottom, and he was sitting 2 laps in the negatives, just got clipped after struggling with the handling into one, ended up in the outside wall. The caution flag is out. When Jason Garrett brought his car down pit road in his own respect, he flew down pit road, took out the cone, and wiped out coming onto the pit lane. So again, this caution well needed for a lot of these guys to just stop, catch a breath, and try to get back in some sort of a rhythm now that we have passed the halfway point in this event. 2 last cautions, we haven't seen it. Now under this one, everybody coming down the pit lane. They're led by Chance Crum. Travis Townsend will enter in second. Big thing we saw last time with the 83 is that he is in the middle of pit road. Everybody is racing around almost, is way down at the end after he qualified in 13th. Right sides go up on a race leader. Crew over to the left side. 4 tires, gas, and go for Chance Crum. The race off of the pit lane for the SRA Chevy. He'll get in front of a couple of lap machines there. Does he win the race off? Drag race with the 11 and stealing it. How about that? Travis Townsend puts the West Coast Chevy on top of the board. he as well came down and took 4 tires, but just beat that car off of pit road.
Yeah, that was a good battle, and I just went back and looked at something, and I think I figured out why they elected the black flag, Jason Garrett there, because a few laps ago, prior to the caution coming out, Derek Bordeaux was right behind Chance Crum battling for the lead, and going down the back straightaway, the 73 swerved up into the race groove in front of the leaders, almost looked like it was intentional, and Derek Bordeaux and Chance Crum both had to take evasive maneuvers. That was on lap 63. They both had to take extremely evasive maneuvers, and the 6 of Derek Bordeaux fell back several positions. He fell back, it looked to be about the 8th or 9th position because of that, so certainly a worthy black flag for that number 73 machine, as it looked like he was trying to impede the progress of the leaders. Not sure if something happened and he's not happy with those guys, but certainly the right call by the admins to get him off the racetrack and get him out of harm's way, because it looked like he was causing more harm than good at this point of the race, and that really hurt Derek Bordeaux, because now he's all the way back in the 10th position. This is one of the fastest cars, and he's running out of time now, and being back in the 10th position, there's a lot of fast cars that are going to be in front of him that he's going to have to try to work around, and it's going to be very hard to do. He's not going to have his teammate like he's had all night long of Chance Crum to help him with the draft to get up through this field. He's going to have to do it on his own, and that's going to be very interesting to watch him do it. He's going to have Corbin Hemstreet also right behind him, who has rebounded fairly nicely since he came down pit road on his own. He's back up to the 12th position, so both these guys are looking to try to get up through the field as quickly as possible here.
Couple of machines stay up behind the base car. They are looking for wave buys, but we have now crossed the halfway point in today's race. It's now time for the iRacing.com mid-race break, brought to you by iRacing.com, the leader in motorsport simulations and the official sim racing partner of NASCAR. We'll go down to the field as they run right now, 10 at a time. Your race leader is the 11 West Coast Chevy of Travis Townsend, started in 3rd. It's the first time he puts that 11 on top of the board tonight. Chance Crum still up 11 spots. He's in 2nd. Borges, I'm going to move that number 39 car up to 3rd. Nicholas Doucette is 4th, 5th position to the guy that started on the outside of the front row, Ariati Fimai Olat. He has scored in 6th. 7th is David Fish. Bobby Cheney, 8th, 9th position is Damon Gilbert, and Derek Bordeaux back in 10th.
Yeah, and the middle section of the field here is kind of scattering a little bit. We had a few guys come to pit road. Corbin Hemstreet currently being scored in the 11th position. David Howard is scored 12th. 13th is going to go to the 62 of William Hale. Sean Butler is going to be in the 14th position. Nick Northrup is going to be 15th. Sal Accardi is going to be 16th. Dominic Dybel is going to be 17th. Michael Tibbetts will be 18th. Tony Rizzuti is going to be 19th. And rounding out your top 20 is David Gibson.
And in 21st on, John Hastings, Matt Moritz, Brian Ray, Brent Puncari, Cody Griffin, and Brandon Monsivice, the final cars on the lead lap. 27, Tyler Hurd, Thomas Lee, Justin Michael, and Willie Blackard through the top 30, all off of the lead lap.
Yeah, and the lights are off on the pace car, so you'll see the rest of your field here. These guys
Will hang on to 3rd. Nicholas Doucette slides down from 4th. He'll be able to get that spot on the inside and single file all the way through to P9, where you see that 6 machine on the outside working aggressively on the 43. Derek Bordeaux, though, is the one under attack. It's Damon Gilbert in bottom.
And Damon Gilbert trying to pin that 6 of Derek Bordeaux out on the outside. These guys are all aware just how strong that 6 car is. They want to try to keep him back here for as long as possible. And they're doing a good job so far keeping him pinned on the race. We're trying to...
So it happened into David Gibson. Went for a wild ride. He was side by side, and the 03 gets contact from the 32. This is something that we talked about as well in our LSRTV pre-race, Brian, is going through those dog legs. It's fine single file, but when you get 2 cars side by side, you might see something like this. It looks like the 32 just did sharp of a... And John of the 73 nails car, and that's where you're going to get the of the damage and exchange back out.
That was a case where they were not communicating with their spotters very well. Unfortunately, it sent them both around, and the 03 slid back up into the track, as you mentioned, in front of the 31, where he had nowhere to go. A very unfortunate set of circumstances, and very interesting here now. I'm kind of go here this lap run.
Back live at the Atlanta Motor Speedway as we work on a caution flag on LSRTV, the voice of sim racing, alongside Evan Pasoko and Brian Macklin in the tower, calling all the action for you guys. Into the final 50 laps we go of tonight's Extreme Motorsports 99.com Xfinity Series All-Star Invitational. It's been a lot more of a fluid race, I guess we'll call it, than what we saw 1 week ago with the Camping World Trucks at Las Vegas. That one was 3 or 4, maybe 5 names into the pile of that have been very, very strong. Next time by, this race is far from being decided.
Well, I think some of that you can put in. I think that you can put some of the blame on that being because they had to switch from Auto Club to Atlanta on very short notice. They were originally expecting to run there, and then within an hour or so they were told they were going to run here at Atlanta instead. So there was a very limited practice time for these drivers, so they didn't have a lot of time to really figure out what their cars were going to do and what they needed to do to put down a fast lap and be faster over the course of the long run. So I think that a lot of why you're seeing a very tight battle at the front of the field. Not very many people had an opportunity to practice for this because they were all expecting Auto Club. So I definitely think that's going to be the major reason for that tonight. That and these cars tend to draft really well in comparison to sometimes the trucks. As the lights are off on the iRacing Ford First Mustang, we're getting ready to go back green here in about a mile. These guys are doubling up here. Chance Crum, for the first time tonight, he's restarting on the outside line once again, and he's really had to struggle with the restarts there, being stuck on the outside. It's a lot harder to get clear to the inside without having your teammate counting you down like we've seen most of the night between him and the 6 of Derek Bordeaux. Derek Bordeaux is still trapped back in the 9th position. Having this quick caution did not help his cause at all because he needs these laps to be ticking off under green if he's going to get back up front. He can't rely on these caution laps to help him get back to the front and have a shot to win.
Well, they're going to go on another stint at it because the lights once again back off. The race has kind of fallen into a pattern where we saw a couple of short stints at the very start of it. And then we've seen a long green flag stretch, a couple of them. Now the caution's slowly returning, which is the typical way that you'll see it work as these races go on. But into the final 50 laps, this one is still well up in the air. It is going to be, though, Travis Townsend once again in the top spot. The 11 going to be in control of the field as the pace car dives down and away, hesitating now on the loud pedal. Green flag flies and back under action here in Atlanta. Top 2 again. Never have had a challenge for P2. It's always easy sailing. The 83 drops down to 1. Chance Crum in second, continuing to stalk the 11 as prey up front. Ryan Borges is third. But again, Nick Doucette, man, that 51 cannot catch a break. He's stuck up high again.
Yeah, it seems like he's been stuck on the outside on just about every single restart here tonight, and it's not any different here as he's stuck on the outside once again, trying to battle, get clear of the 48 here of Femi Ola as they come off turn 4. He's not able to do it. He's going to have to stay out there on the outside for a little while longer as he's trying to actually make a run to the outside of the 27 of Aria T. Not able to do it right now. He's going to have to try to pinch that inside line down if he's going to get clear of the 48. He's not able to do it now. He's going to, we got a wreck in the back. The 43 is around, and he collects several cars with him. The 54 of Nick Northrop was involved, and several other drivers down the back straightaway. The 3 is involved. They're still wrecking down the back straightaway here. Caution is out once again, and this is a multi-car pileup down the back straightaway.
Big trouble strikes in the latter stages of this Xfinity All-Star event, but again, it all gets kicked off with just one car getting loose. The 43 of David Fish. That machine, the Springfield Armory Chevy, just gets a little bit sideways. Again, on the outside in turn 2. Not the most preferred place to be so far on the evening. He got sideways, got hit from behind, and then once 3-4 cars gone in it, the entire track was blocked, and they all kind of self-clean to the inside retaining wall. You'll see the replay coming up right now with the double clutch replay after all of that contact, but at least a dozen cars in one way or another involved as you see that melee in Coretta 2.
Yeah, that was a huge pile up at the back of the pack here. It took out a lot of cars that had some pretty good speed in them. I'm not sure that any of them were going to be contenders for the win, but it was certainly a lot of guys that were looking to get a good run for their respective league, and unfortunately are going to have a lot of damage to fix on these cars. And something this also does, once again, is this hurts Derek Bordeaux, and it hurts him in more than one way. Not only is it taking laps away from him to have a shot to get back up front, but depending on where they score him here, it looks like he's trying to figure out where he's supposed to be in line. He might end up on the outside line here. It looked like he was supposed to be in the 8th position. It's currently scoring him in 7th, but he's starting to let a few of these guys back by, so I believe he's going to be on the outside of row 4 being in the 8th position when they go back green, and that's going to hurt him again because he's the one that keeps getting stuck on the outside. We talked just a few seconds ago about Nicholas Doucette being stuck on the outside. He's finally going to catch a break. He's restarting in the 5th position and will be on the inside line, so he's going to have an opportunity to take advantage of that inside line and maybe go up there and challenge for this lead instead of being stuck on the outside trying to get clear to the bottom as quickly as possible.
Action on the pit lane again, this time through. A couple of cars coming down to the pit lane as they cycle through. The leaders, though, are pretty much already in quarter 3. They have elected on this next cycle of the caution flags to not do anything major. Travis Townsend still in front over Chance Crum. Ryan Borges, one of the biggest movers tonight so far. Take a look at some of the names that have made some of the biggest improvements as they sit right now. Your second place runner, Chance Crum, he has gained 11 spots. The third place car, Ryan Borges, has gained 14. It's also 14 to the positive for Nicholas Doucette's machine, 15 in the positive for the 8th place machine of Bobby Chaney. A couple of other notables, 14 positions gained for Salicardi. Another driver that's doing very good tonight, 19 gained for Tony Rizzuti, and he's actually going to try to bump that number up now to 21 positions gained as he gets cycled up a little bit for this next one's John Hastings, Matt Moritz. Shout out to those drivers as well. A lot of guys working with what they've got so far, trying to continue to pick through the field here. We had 43 of them that started on the lead lap. Right now, 26 cars remain on the lead lap in this event. Really coming down to the end of it now. Question would be, Brian, is we had seen times where it's been a very inconsistent, I guess, cycle to the pit lane. Earlier on, we saw a lot of guys, everybody for the most part, come down every single yellow. They all wanted 4 tires. Now, we're seeing gaps of 2, 3 yellows before these guys come down pit road. Not only are you thinking about what the guys around you are going to do, but you got to think of when do you want to make that final pit stop if you want to come down and get another set of tires, assuming that we still have a couple of caution flags to go to the end of this one. You look right now, you're working lap 83, going to be 40 laps to go probably by the time you get the green flag again. How late do you want to wait maybe to make that final stop for more tires?
Well, see, that's where the crew chief is going to get paid the big bucks because he's going to be the man that's going to make the decision for the driver. And in this case, I think you're going to see the crew chief try to keep them out there. We've seen several cautions happen in a very short period of time where they haven't gotten a lot of green flag laps on these tires, so the tires are still relatively new. They don't have a lot of green flag laps on them, so they're not really hurt right now. If we continue to have cautions at this pace, I don't think you'll see these guys come back to pit road because they're not going to really need to, and they're not going to want to give up the track position. We've seen a lot of wrecks happening towards the middle part of the field and towards the back of the pack, so these guys know if they pit, there's a good chance some of these guys might stay out, and then they're going to be trapped in that area where we could see more wrecks, and then it would possibly involve them. So I don't think you'll see them come back to pit road unless they absolutely have to, which I would have to say, if you don't see more a run from more than about 8 or 9 laps long, you're not going to see these guys come back down pit road. And then if we do get a caution after that many laps, you're going to open the door for some guys to take 2 tires. We saw Corbin Hemstreet do it at the beginning of the race, and he actually fared fairly well, staying out there at the front for quite a while until he made contact with the wall. So it can be done, and you can actually be successful with it. So it's going to be really interesting to see if that happens, who's going to take that chance and who's going to make it work.
We're going to take another stab at things here. The pace car again has extinguished the safety lights around the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway. Going to go at it yet again. Travis Townsend, control car, pace car, down and away, already on the accelerator from the control car position. Green flag flies as they sail under the flag stand. Top 2, no challenge. Borges again, still safe in third. Now the challenge goes into the hands of the 27 car, who's the first one stuck on the high side.
Yeah, the 27 car stuck out there. That's Aria T. He's now the guy that's going to have to try to find a way back to the inside line. So far, not able to do it as he has a line of cars on the inside. Derek Bordeaux is also trying to find his way back to the front of the field. He has struggled mightily since he got shuffled back there with the lap car getting in his way. He has not been able to go anywhere. Still back there around the 7th position, not able to go anywhere. He's trying to make something happen here. He's stuck behind the 27 and the 48 as they sorted all their stuff out. They're now single file, and he's going to get a big run coming off turn 2. It looks like he's going to try to make the move. He decides better of it. I do believe that 48 is part of the SRA group, so he's going to stay in line behind him and work with him as part of his league team here for the evening. And it looks like they're going to try to work together, maybe try to bring both of them to the front and try to work around these guys. The 27 of Aria T now down to the inside of Nicholas Doucette, who had caught that braking on the inside line. Now he's back out on the outside line. battling side by side with RET through 1 and 2.
And at 27 to the inside, a lot of SRA inside of the top 10. We've talked about how Marcus Richardson has dominated and won so far both of these All-Star events put on with Extreme Motorsports 99. He won this All-Star race 1 year ago. He won the Camping World Truck Series All-Star event 1 week ago. He's not here, but his team is definitely representing. You see 3 of them stacked up with the 27, 48, and the 6 car all down there, but it's Bordeaux who was flying earlier on. Now that he's in traffic, he's still fast, but doesn't have the extreme speed that he had earlier. He's 8/10 off the top spot as he rides around in 7th. That top spot is still occupied by Travis Townsend, who at one point he was trailing Chance Crum, stuck in 2nd, stuck at a spot where he really couldn't do a whole lot to try to get around him. Biggest thing here is that 11 machine made the pass to get to the top spot on the pit lane. Since he's done that, he hasn't been able to pull away from Chance Crum. Chance Crum hasn't been able to really do much with him. Those top 2 stayed deadlocked at a car length separating them into quarter number 3.
Yeah, they stayed deadlocked for the lead position. Meanwhile, the 48 of Femi Olot made a move to the inside of RET. He makes the pass. He brings the 6 of Derek Bordeaux with him. He actually makes a little bit of contact with the outside wall off turn 4. That opens the door for Derek T now, as he's going to be able to make the move to the inside and try to clear the 48. That'll move Derek Bordeaux back up into the top 5. He's got about 35 laps to go to make it happen, and he's finally back into the top 5. He's actually being scored with a black flag now. Not really sure why, but Derek Bordeaux in that 6 machine was just given a black flag by race control, so it's going to be really interesting to see what happens here with him. Not really sure what happened there. We're going to have to try to look back and see if we can find something that might have warranted that black flag, but we have not seen it as of yet, and he has not come to pit road. It looks like he is trying to fight that cause, and I believe Evan Pasoko has found the reason for the black flag.
Yeah, take a look back at the tape at the drop of a green flag. That machine was on the outside of his respective row, made a move down to the inside. It could very well be a black flag for changing lanes before the restart box on the drop of a green flag. Obviously, he's not coming right down the pit road. He's still racing like he's out there to the inside on Nick Doucette. They'll go side by side for 4th, but Ryan, as a driver, once you get more than 4 laps out there with a standing black flag, you will get disqualified. You'll take a look at the replay right now on the LSRTV side-by-side. Down on the bottom of your screen, you'll see that bright yellow car start on the outside, clearly get to the bottom before they reach the start-finish line. That could be it. He's trying to stay out as long as he can, but he's forced to come down now, or he'd be even furtherly penalized and blocked. That car now comes to the pit lane. That ends the night, essentially, for Bordeaux, who halfway through this one looked like it was all his.
Yeah, what he was doing right there is he was probably fighting his cause, trying to get away from having this black flag. As we have a battle for the lead, and actually a change for the lead, Chance Crum to the inside of the 11 Travis Townsend, and is going to be able to make this battle pretty interesting here as he dives into the bottom in 3 and 4, makes the pass, he clears them, slides up in front of the 11. They almost make contact as they come off turn 4. The 11 got very close to the outside wall. He actually was able to squeeze back to the outside of the 83 as they go off into turn 1. He decides to get in line. Looks like he might try a crossover move. He's not going to be able to right now, as the 83 was able to get a really good run through 1 and 2. That opens the door for that 39 of Ryan Borges to try to close in on these guys, as he is trying to make a 3-way battle for the lead here as they go off into turn 3.
So Chance Crum able to overtake the number 11. That is a popular pass for the top spot. That puts SRA yet again at a spot to win one of these races for the 3rd consecutive time. If you can hold on, 21 laps to go at a start-finish line. Townsend got cleared in 4, tried to fight back to the outside, and Chance Crum slid high and absolutely shut the door on that. Now he leads by 1 car length at the Atlanta Motor Speedway. Really down now to the ending stages of this one. Borges sits 3rd. Other than that battle for the lead, though, everybody inside the top 10 calm for the moment. Single file at 20 laps to go. We're going to take this final opportunity to step away and go LSRTV non-stop into the final 20 laps. We will be right back for the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway, coming down to the end of this one as Chance Crum tries to hang on. Back live down the back straightaway at the Atlanta Motor Speedway on LSRTV. You've been taking in the action now with inside the final 25 laps on our LSRTV nonstop, but that was very close for a second lap car. Really tight on these guys as he cycled at a quarter two. At the end of it all, and you've been watching this entire fight, Nicholas Doucette up to second, Borges in third, but they had a good scrap there for second on back. But the biggest issue, Brian, is they let Chance Crum get away.
Yeah, Chance Crum was able to get out to about a half a second lead. It does look like Nicholas Doucette's starting to close back in on him here. We're getting to see one of our longest green flag runs of the night here, it looks like. So it's going to be very interesting to see just how well Chance Crum is going to fare against Nicholas Doucette as we get further into this run. Nicholas Doucette keeps slowly just taking inches off of that race lead. Eventually he's going to get there, and we're going to have a nice little battle here as he is trying to run him down. Single file behind him now after a crazy battle that you saw on our LSRTV nonstop. These guys have settled down. I think they got a little scared because there was a few instances where they almost got into each other and caused a caution. So now they're just trying to get their breath back and gather it up and get back out here and try to get up there. So these guys are really starting to get down to the wire here. We're just outside of 15 laps to go, about 18 laps on the board right now left for these guys to get it done. Nicholas Doucette's really going to have to start marching. He actually lost a little bit of time to Chance here as he works down the back straightaway. He's running out of time. He's going to have to make something happen quick.
And that 0.4 of a second gap between the top two not only shrinking, but something that is the gap between second and third. Ryan Borges, fastest car on the racetrack the last couple of laps. Part of that is he does have a little bit of an advantage because he is drafting off of the back of the 51, but if he can get around Nick Doucette, these drivers have raced together a lot. We've seen them go head-to-head before with Cora, Sunday Money stuff here on LSRTV. If Borges can just get around that 51, he may, if he can keep up that pace, at least get to Chance Crum. Now, we know that catching somebody and passing somebody, those are two completely different ball games, Brian. That's why you're seeing the 39. Closed in 0.4 on that second-place car very quickly. Now he's stuck behind him. But if he wants a shot at it, he needs to either get around him quickly or anybody else also included in this, the 19 other drivers on the lead lap, they need a caution flag. This time by the start-finish line will be 16 laps to go to the inside and side by side for second. Ryan Borges, the number 39 on the attack. He's side by side with the True Speed Motorsports 51 and Doucette. They're neck and neck out of 4.
Yeah, and it doesn't look like Nicholas Doucette's going to put up much of a fight. It looks like he almost just pretty much let the 39 go. I think he realized with 15 laps to go or 16 laps to go that Ryan Borges has the faster car, and he decided to let him go so he can go up there and try to challenge Chance Crum for the lead. As Chance Crum is coming up on a slow car here, it looks like the number 44, Brandon Cruz, he's going to pull out of the way, let the lead cars go by very safely, so a very respectful move on the case of that 44 car. That allows Ryan Borges to continue his march towards the front. He is driving the wheels off that car right now. We see him sail it off into the corner, and he actually gained almost 2 full tenths on Chance Crum that last time by. He was a hell of a lot faster than Chance Crum right there, and he is closing in a hurry. It's only going to be about another lap and a half or so, and he's going to be knocking on the door for this race lead here as they go off into turn 3. He is still marching, sails the car off into the corner so much further than the 83 of Chance Crum. It's incredible to see how hard he's driving that car into the corner, and he's still making it stick, and he is making up a ton of time as he's now only about 2 car lengths behind Chance Crum as they go off into turn 1, a car length and a half now as they get through turns 1 and 2.
And Ryan Borges become the first non-SRA driver to win an All-Star Invitational event with the Extreme Motorsports 99.com series of All-Star races. He's got up to second. He's closed the gap, but he had trouble getting around the 51 of Doucette, who now he's left in the dust. How hard can he get that pass, and how hard does Chance Crum make it for Ryan Borges? The top two go right into quarter number 1, half of a car length. He's stalked them. He's trying to keep that car, looks like stepped out a little bit. The 81 all the way to the apron. Good run out of 2. Does he go for it to the bottom? Don't think he's going to be able to get it, though. He got the bumper of the 83 right before he stepped out. They continue to go bumper to bumper into the final 10 laps very soon.
Yeah, Chance Crum is doing everything he can to try to hold this 39 off. These guys are racing like their lives depend on it right now. As the 39 dives to the inside through the triangle here, off into turn 1. He's got a big head of steam as they go off into the corner. He sails it off in there. The 83 tries to pinch him as they go through turns 1 and 2. The 83 is going to try to use the momentum down the back straightaway to pull him back around the 39 of Ryan Borges. He's got a good run down the back straightaway. He's going to have to pinch him as they go through 3 and 4 here if he's going to have a chance. He gives him a lot of room here. That's a big mistake. It's going to allow the 39 to get a good run off the corner, and it looks like Ryan Borges is going to clear him and take the lead. He
Crossover.
does.
Contact. There goes Chance Crum. He's in the grass. The 83 back up, and he will save it into corner number 1. But it was Ryan Borges on the inside. He got clear, and it was one of the most ferocious crossovers you'll ever see by Chance Crum. Throw it to the inside in the tri-oval there, and it didn't work. Went down low. Ryan Borges shut the door just a little bit. You'll go full screen for this double clutch replay. I'll tell you, Brian, it was Ryan Borges who pushed the envelope trying to get it, but what a move by Chance Crum, fighting for his life. You'll see it right now. Just about ended up with him in the fence. He falls to 7th.
Yeah, that is what all-star racing is all about. You put it all on the line, you go for it all, and that's exactly what he did. He was trying to go for the classic pass in the grass move there, and unfortunately it didn't work out for him. But what an incredible move that was, and what an incredible battle that was between these two juggernaut drivers here. It was an awesome battle to watch, and now Ryan Borges, he's just got to run about 8 clean laps here. He's got the fastest car. He's pulling away from Nicholas Doucette. He's going to have to work through the lap traffic cleanly, and he's going to be able to come home with the win, barring any type of major catastrophe here. He is driving away from these guys now that he is no longer battling with Chance Crum. But what an incredible save that was by the 83 of Chance Crum. He did an absolutely amazing job hanging onto that car through the grass, coming back up onto the track into traffic, did everything he could to keep it clean and keep it straight, and did an amazing job. And he's still going to have a decent finish out of this. He's in the 7th position, as you mentioned, Devin, and he's going to be able to have a chance to maybe make up a couple of those positions. He has enough time to where he can try to run down the 48 and the 11, as we have a wreck off turn 2, and actually they saved it. That was the lap car back there, got into the 27 of Aria T as they came off turn 2. They both managed to keep the car straight, and they stay green here.
That was George Bark in the 27. Bark's number 100 making a contact. Everybody stays green. There's going to be a couple of people, Brian, that don't like what happened there for the battle for the lead. Borges does make a very small movement down through the tri-oval. You saw a couple of angles at it, but you got to look at it with Chance Crum coming in at such an angle, throwing it to the inside. I feel like he's more driving into the left rear of the 39 than it is Borges shut the door. It was an aggressive move, to say the least. Some might like it, some might love it, but nonetheless, it has Borges out front. They were fighting for it, and you could see how much they both wanted that, without a doubt. 5 to go next time at the strip.
Yeah, what an incredible battle that was. Like you mentioned, and the 48 had some issues there. He was really sideways through 3 and 4, lost a ton of momentum, and is going to fall back a couple of positions. He's going to fall behind the 24 of the 24 of Bobby Chaney and the 83 of Chance Crum. He fell behind those guys, got a little sideways there. Ryan Borges has a half a second lead, meanwhile, over top of Nicholas Doucette and Sean Butler. Those two having a pretty good little battle here for second. They're side by side going off into the corner. Sean Butler had the momentum. He wasn't able to stay there. Now he slides back to the inside of Nicholas Doucette as they go through 1 and 2. These guys are having an incredible battle. I don't think they're going to have time to run down Ryan Borges with the way they're racing, though.
Yeah, Doucette and Butler go at it. The 88 car trying to take advantage of what has been one of the longest green flag stints of the night. He forces the 51 now, cuts him out of room, and it is going to be Sean Butler's number 88 Nationwide Giant Mountain Dew Chevy from 9th position at the start. He'll jump up and take second. It slides Nick Doucette's car back to 3rd, still 16 position gain after Doucette started this race in 19th position. But I'll tell you, Brian Borges just needs to get home. At this point, if a caution flag were to fly, and we just about had one after that contact with the 100 and the 27 a couple of laps ago, caution would end this race. Borges just needs to go 3 laps left remaining at Atlanta. That's just about 7 or so miles under that, actually. Give him just under 5 miles left in this event, Brian. 18 drivers left on the lead lap. You take a look out of the windshield of Ryan Borges' machine. Not a whole lot going on in front of him. Clear track for the most part. He's just got to make her home.
Yeah, no mistakes, and just hit your marks for the next 2 laps here as they come around to the start-finish line. That's all he's going to have to do. Sean Butler closed a very, very minimal amount on the last lap, but it was not enough to do anything significant. And actually, he closes again about 0.04 of a second, but he would have to make up a lot more than that in the next 2 laps here if he was going to have a shot. His only hope is that Ryan Borges makes a mistake and loses a ton of speed and allows him to have a shot at him as they work down the back straightaway. A lap and a half to go here going through 3 and 4. It's all Ryan Borges as they come to the white flag.
Ryan Borges cycles out at quarter number 4 for the penultimate time at the virtual Atlanta Motor Speedway. White flag is in the air. This race is official all the way home. There's no challenge for second. There's no challenge for third. A couple of guys scrapping. We're side by side for P5 in the quarter number 1. The 24 car of Bobby Chaney slides up in front. He'll clear Travis Townsend and he'll swap it out for that spot. They continue to fight, but into 3 and 4, the final time on this race, Ryan Borges chopped at it throughout the night, and an aggressive late race move gets the job done. Checkered flag and a win to Ryan Borges. He takes home the Extreme Motorsports 99 Xfinity Series All-Star Invitational in dramatic and to some controversial fashion, but he dethrones. So far, the Sim Racing Authority no longer has won all of these. The 29 is going to put the North American Racing Network on top of the board. What a race, Brian, from the pit strategy to the emotional roller coaster for people cheering on certain drivers. At one point, it looked like one certain driver had it locked up. This looked like it was Derek Bordeaux's race. He finishes in 18th position. Then it looked like this one was going to go, to another one of the fan favorites, Chance Crum. Then he just can't hang on late, and somehow Ryan Borges saved something or had some jet fuel at the end, made one hell of a push at the end and stole this one.
Yeah, well, I think something that might have been a result of was the fact that they had a very long green flag run to end this race, and he was able to manage his tires better than everybody at the front, and he was just able to have the speed on the long run, and he was clearly the fastest car after 15 to 20 laps. He had more rubber left on his tires and was able to hang on to it, and what an incredible battle that was between him and Chance Crum, taking the chances that they took, being so aggressive with the passes. I applaud Chance Crum for trying to make that crossover and trying to come back for the win. He knew that was probably his last shot to bring home the victory. He knew how much quicker Ryan Borges was, and he had to go for it and do everything he could. It's an all-star race. That's what it's all about. That's what we hope to see when we watch an all-star race, and that's exactly what we got. And it was just an absolutely incredible race from start to finish. These guys put on an amazing show, and it was a pleasure to sit up here in the broadcast booth and call it tonight. And it was just, what an incredible victory for Ryan Borges. I'm so happy for that team and for everybody there. They did a great job.
And we're going to take a look at this replay one more time. Take a look and take a listen. For this double clutch replay, I'll tell you, Brian, it was Ryan Borges who pushed the envelope trying to get it, but what a move by Chance Crum, fighting for his life. You'll see it right now. Just about ended up with him in the fence. He falls to 7th.
Yeah, that is what all-star racing is all about. You put it all on the line, you go for it all, and that's exactly what he did. He was trying to go for the classic pass in the grass move there, and unfortunately it didn't work out for him. But what an incredible move that was, and what an incredible battle that was between these two juggernaut drivers here. It was an awesome battle to watch, and now Ryan Borges, he's just got to run about 8 clean laps here. He's got the fastest car. He's pulling away from Nicholas Doucette.
It was a good save on behalf of the Chance Crum camp to be able to, at that point, hang on to a 7th, ultimately come home with the 9th place finish. But Ryan Borges, what a move to the end. Sean Butler, Nicholas Doucette join him at the front straightaway. The top 3 celebrate together, but it is Ryan Borges who gives Narn their first and gives anybody outside of the SRA their first All-Star Invitational win as that team takes home the Xfinity Series All-Star at Atlanta. Still a lot of chatter going on about that final move and about the night as a whole. We're not done yet on LSRTV. Stick around because the post-race show coming up in just a moment. We'll talk with the top 3, and most importantly, we'll talk to those final 2 drivers that were duking it out there inside of the final 25 laps. LSRTV, the voice of sim race, and a post-race show. We'll be back in just a moment. Stay tuned.
Monza is a very historic track. It's been around since the 20s, and it's gone through several permutations since then. We're also bringing forward a number of configurations. So there's chicanes that they've installed since the track's early days. So they can use original, very high-speed configurations of the track where the cars would just blow through where the chicanes are today, or they could use a more modern version. So it's a pretty cool, compelling track. The unique thing about Monza is it has a road course, but it also has a high-speed oval, and that high-speed oval can be run by itself. The Grand Prix course can be run by itself, and they also can be run together in a combined circuit, which is very unique and special in motorsports. This was one of the more challenging projects that we've undertaken. It was essentially building 2 tracks in one. It took a lot of time and a lot of care was put into it, but we're really happy about the end result, and we think that people have a lot of fun driving it.
In the outside, contact made, 56 slides it into 4, who's gonna be at the stripe, dead even, give it to Ryan Truex. Truex is your winner over Tandy.
Back live at the Atlanta Motor Speedway as the post-race show on LSRTV gets underway after the Extreme Motorsports 99.com Xfinity Series All-Star Invitational comes to a close with Ryan Borges on top of the pile. We're glad to have everybody still tuned in on LSRTV. We thank you for joining us this evening in what was quite a wicked race coming down to the end of that, and we get things kicked off. We're down in the pit stall of the driver of the number 51 machine, one of the bigger movers on tonight's event that comes 16 positions higher than where he started when it's all said and done. We've caught up with Nicholas Doucette. Nick, you come home third tonight. It was a hell of a fight there. You were second. Ryan got around you. He ended up going on to victory lane, but we've seen you two fight before here on LSRTV with Cora. You were representing them tonight. A very good finish for you. How was the event?
The event was actually really awesome. All the drivers did an awesome job, and it was lots of fun, the race. But yeah, me and Ryan, we've had some battles on the track over at Cora. There was a race last season at Charlotte where I won and he got second. This time he wins and I get third, but yeah, it was an awesome battle. My tires were really shot at the end of the race, so yeah, I couldn't really make no moves and stuff.
Initially, this event was going to be held at the Auto Club Speedway. Then we moved over here for Atlanta. But the fix set that everybody was working on, we saw a lot of guys really, really loose in 2 and 4, especially on the high side. What were some of the biggest challenges you had to fight throughout that night in the car?
Well, and mostly it was like you just said, like getting loose off of 2 and 4, but on the outside lane, especially after you pit and you get like fresh tires, it's really loose up there, and I was struggling with that a bit.
The last time we had everybody out was 1 week ago for the the Truck Series All-Star. Cora was represented there as well. You waved the flag for them tonight with a P3 finish, Nicholas. Anything you want everybody tuning in to know about Cora and what they do?
Well, I'm going to try my best to explain. Cora, a Championship Online Racing Association. Great bunch of guys, Kevin McCarthy, James Brown, a bunch of good drivers, a lot of respect on the track, on and off. And they're having a new season starting in October. You can check them out at, I think it's www.cora-racing.com.
All right, Nicholas, representing Cora, a lot of familiar faces we saw from up here, but it was a great run for you guys in that number 51 Chevy Camaro. Any sponsors or shout-outs you want to throw out there as well for a long night?
Well, I would like to thank, my team Cora, for letting me drive this. I'd like to thank you guys, LSRTV, for putting on a great show. Extreme Motorsports and all, the teams that came here. And I'd like to thank my teammates at True Speed Motorsports and at JMP Custom Cycles.
That is your third place finisher, Nicholas Doucette. Nick, thanks for taking a moment to talk with us. Best of luck going forward in that Cora season coming up as well, but hopefully we see the Cora guys back out. We got a Cup All-Star coming up next month. Hopefully we'll see you then.
Thank you.
So that is the driver that comes home in third, representing the Championship Online Racing Association, Nicholas Doucette's number 51 machine sits third on the podium tonight at Atlanta. Just a little bit down the pit lane for me, caught up with the driver of the number 88 machine, Sean Butler. Brian Macklin, you've caught up with that team that started inside the top 10. They finished up there and came charging up late, come home in second when it's all said and done.
Yes, I have caught up with driver of the number 88 Nationwide Camaro, representing the Max Speed Racing lead, Sean Butler. Sean, what an incredible race this was, and you had a front row seat for the incredible battle between Ryan Borges and Chance Crum in the closing stages. What was it like watching those two go at it head-to-head and almost taking each other out while battling for the win right there? That was a crazy battle to watch, was it not?
Oh yeah, I was coming up from the back and I could see that pack up there just battling hard, and I knew I was catching them, and I was just hoping they'd stay side by side long enough for me to catch them, and it worked out. And then I just happened to, I don't know if I saved my tires a little bit more, but I was just faster than everybody up there, and I wish I had got by that 51 a little quicker. I might have had something for Ryan down there, but it just wasn't meant to be.
It certainly was a very exciting race to watch, and you did a great job coming up through the field and battling through the different strategies that we saw all night long. If there had been a late race caution there to bunch everybody up, would you have taken two tires or maybe stayed out to try to snooker these guys and steal this race?
It would have had to have been just a few laps to go to stay out, but I think if we had 10 laps to go, I would have came in and got 4 tires. It would have been no-brainer, because it's by the end of that we were running half a second off of what we were running on new tires. So it's it would have been a more interesting battle. You would have had a ton of cars just racing like heck for that lead, but it worked out good, and what a fun race.
Yeah, and real quick before we do let you go, of course you're representing the Max Speed Racing League. Any information you want to give to our viewers about the league and maybe how they can get signed up and join you guys for the league races?
Yeah, we race Tuesday nights, these B cars, fixed setup. So if you guys like good racing, and I need some more challenges. I've been kind of running away with it this year. I have 12 wins and 20 starts, so people are getting a little mad about it, but it's just one of those things. Racing is racing, and sometimes these way things work out on pit stops and stuff. But I just want to thank my teammates over there at Max Speed. We had a great race tonight. Everyone got caught up in a wreck, I think, but except for Travis. Good job, he came home 5th. But thank my friend David Howard for painting me up this awesome looking car. Look forward to doing this again with you guys.
All right, well, you heard it here first, folks. Join the Max Speed Racing League and give Sean Butler a challenge so that he doesn't run away with all these races. That was driver number 88, Sean Butler. Now we are going to Gatorade Victory Lane, where Evan Pasoko has caught up with somebody that has to be extremely ecstatic with his race, and I'm sure is still reliving the amazing battle he had with the number 83 of Chance Crum. Evan Pasoko has caught up with Ryan Borges.
Running away with it is something that we thought we might see happen. We've seen it in the last two events. At the beginning of this one, it looked like it was going to be the same song and dance, but a couple of cautions later, a couple of pit calls later, we have one heck of a fight coming into those final 25 laps. And not only is this the first time that the Sim Racing Authority don't win this event, but they have been shut out of the podium. And your winner tonight, representing the North American Racing Network, Ryan Borges in the number 39 Chevrolet. Ryan, no stranger to victory lane here on LSRTV, but that one was exciting. For many, it was exciting. Some of the drivers and some of the spectators that are cheering on the SRA guys, not all that happy about that one went down, but that was good, hard racing coming down. Where did that 39 get all of that speed there late? And you had to get around Nick there, and then you got up there at the very end of that 83 machine. Walk us through those final couple of passes and what happened there at a 4.
First off, I got to thank the whole entire NARN organization for supporting me there in that race. I mean, a lot of them got wrecked out earlier, weren't racing, and they were behind me that whole time. So I just got to thank them for cheering me on, giving me the support to win that. But I guess I don't know how. Honestly, I don't know how much I don't know what I'm saying, but I don't know how I had that much speed over the long run. I mean, I didn't think I was that fast coming in, but I guess I was good with saving the tires. I mean, on the restarts, I just wasn't getting very good jumps at all. I mean, on the final restart there, I fell back and was about to lose third. But I don't know. I guess the guys up front maybe burned their tires up too much, and I was just able to ease it along that whole run there and just save them enough to where I was able to get the lead and sail off there. But I mean, coming in, I really didn't put a lot of practice into this one. I didn't even know I'll be honest, I didn't even know we were racing tonight until like 3 o'clock. So sorry about that to everyone that is in NARN and practicing all day. But I don't know, with the incident with the 83, I'm really sorry to Chance about that one. I mean, I had just passed him, come out of 4 there, I think, or into 3. I cleared him, shot it down. I'm pretty sure I'm thinking about the right lap, but he went high and I was low, and then he shot it below me. I mean, to be honest, I didn't even think he was gonna be there, so I was just hugging the grass as best I could, and then all of a sudden he was to my quarter panel, and we touched, and it sent him in the grass. I mean, I don't know why it didn't spin me out and it turned him into the grass, but I gotta apologize to him. That was a great race that we were having there, and I didn't wanna win it like that. But I mean, I was just running as hard as I could, and I didn't even realize he was there. So sorry to him about that. But I'm glad that I finally pulled the win off. I was really wanted to win the Las Vegas one, and my internet dropped out early on. I had to fight back, and this one definitely feels good.
Yeah, we didn't bring that up tonight in hopes that we didn't jinx you, so maybe we can get a little bit credit and all of that as well, Ron. But it was a good run for you guys. We talked to Sean last week with the Truck Series All-Star. You representing NARN here, taking home the win, and you're talking about everybody else that you race with, a couple of the guys that you race against week in and week out, coming to this as teammates. If there's a couple of things you want everybody tuning in to know about the North American Racing Network, what would that be?
Oh, I mean, NARN's a relatively new league. It's a money league. You pay $6 to enter every week, but it's honestly, it's a great group of guys. Everyone there is awesome. They're fun to be around. They're all helpful. The racing's the whole time I've been there, it's probably one of the best leagues I've been in terms of racing. We have a lot of green flag runs, clean drivers. I mean, I don't think it could be. It's really hard to beat NARN in terms of that. And overall, I mean, if you're looking to try your luck, win some money, but also have some good, clean, hard racing with a bunch of good guys, NARN is definitely the place to go.
And for more information on NARN, you can check them out at NARN, that's NARN.ca. Ryan, also some big news coming out of the iRacing world recently is that you're going to be in the 2015-2016 class for the iRacing.com Pro Series. Let us know a little bit about that.
Yeah, I'm happy about that. I mean, it's been a lot of work to get to that point. I mean, I started off on iRacing maybe I think 2.5 years ago, and I was not very good. I mean, a lot of people that start off on here not very good, but it took a while. I progressed, got more familiar with the cars, and honestly, I'm more of a short track person, but I've always wanted to make it big on iRacing, do the big cars. So I've last couple years NIS and now A Open, I put some effort into that and ran with a bunch of great guys. I mean, if it wasn't for Last Row Motorsports, I gotta thank them. They picked me up for the A Open season this year, and they had faith in me. And I honestly, even myself, I didn't think I had a shot at making pro, but I just kept it going through A Open, had consistent races. I think it was all 12 weeks, and just squeaked in the final week at Pocono. I mean, it was I thought I was done going into Pocono, and I made up like 60 or 70 points in the last race of the season. So squeaked it in by 1 point. I'm just really happy and excited for that to get started in the fall. That'll be fun.
Well, hopefully, if all goes according to plan, we'll have the LSRTV cameras again for that. So we look forward to that, and maybe this won't be the last time in 2015 that we talk to you in Victory Lane. I'm sure you guys would like that. So best of luck rolling forward into that round. Before we let you go, any other sponsors or shout-outs you want to thank for making this night possible?
Oh yeah, just to start off, I gotta thank the Extreme Motorsports 99 for putting this event on. This is it's awesome going against all these other great drivers and great leagues in one race. It really gives everyone especially with the fixed setup, it gives everyone a level playing field and lets you really test how well your skills are. I guess that's a bad way to put it, but it's a fun event. And I'm looking forward to the next one in the Gen 6 cars. And also, I gotta thank Narn for letting me race for them, supporting me. I've also got to thank Store Motorsports, who's the team I race for in Narn. I've got to thank Last Row Motorsports. I said that already. That's my A Open team. And I got to thank the sponsors on the car, Racer Boost, Extreme Racing Series, Molecule Motorsports, and Lundgren Honda, as well as Jerky XP. I got to thank them all for supporting me.
Well, Ryan, it was a hard-fought win tonight, and you had quite the journey to get there. You had to pass 16 cars, and you didn't really give yourself much time, but a hell of a drive there at the end. Exciting, dominant fashion there with that car come to life when it needed to. Congratulations once again. Thanks for talking with us. Best of luck. Not only, I guess we'll see you next month for the Cup Series All-Star event as well, but also best wishes to everybody and you at Narn, and good luck in the Pro Series this fall.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And also to everyone listening, if I sound a little tired and a little out of it, I'm definitely a little exhausted after that one. That was intense racing there. Hopefully everyone enjoyed that on LSRTV.
There's a lot of people tuned in, Ryan, that loved it. There's a lot that didn't, but that's when you get a good race and you get racing hard like that. We enjoyed it because we have no bias. So again, best wishes, and we'll see you on the 6th of August in the Cup Cars.
All right, thank you.
Again, that is your winner tonight, representing the North American Racing Network. Ryan Borges in the number 39 car comes home in first position. Brian, we talked so much about the Sim Racing Authority and their dominance with Marcus Richardson so far in the 2 All-Star events that have happened before this, last year's Xfinity and then last week's Truck Series All-Star event. He wasn't here, but at the beginning of the night, it looked like it was going to be the exact same thing. It looked like it was going to be SRA dominance. Not only do they not win, but they are shut out of the podium, but it's not the whole story. Chance Crum just about had it in the 83 machine. Came up a little bit short after a finish that I'm sure is going to be talked about for quite some time, and there's a little bit of underground emotion, some seated emotion. Now a little bit of a rivalry going on, which makes me think that Sprint Cup All-Star race next month may be a lot more exciting than we might think.
Yeah, I certainly think that created a rivalry between the two of them, and obviously they're both extremely talented drivers, and we will expect to see them at the front of the field once again in that All-Star race in the Gen 6 cars next month. It's going to be a very exciting battle, and I'm sure Chance Crum is going to be looking to get out there and get revenge, so to speak, to try to get back up there and try to get the win. I don't know that he'll necessarily go out there and try to do anything to try to take out Ryan Borges, but I definitely think he wants to go out there next month and try to beat him and show him that he's got what it takes to get the job done and beat him. So it's going to be a very exciting race, and we can't forget about the rest of the drivers in the field. There was a lot of talented drivers in the field tonight. Several drivers had a shot to win this race, and just unfortunately for one reason or another were not at the front when it mattered the most. We saw guys like Corbin Hemstreet had a fast car most of the night, had a little bit of contact with the outside wall, and just never rebounded from that. He never recovered from it. We also saw the 6 car, he struggled after having his penalties and just was not able to get back up front. He had one of the best cars all night long and just was not able to get back to the front after having his struggles with the lap car, and then unfortunately had the black flag for what we believe was changing lanes on the restart. So a lot of action in this race tonight, and just a very exciting race, and it makes me excited to look ahead to the All-Star race in the Gen 6. I think that's going to be just as good of a race, maybe a little bit better. They're going to have a lot more power and a lot more speed, and it's going to be a very exciting show to watch, and I'm sure that they're going to put on just as good of a show as they did tonight.
It was a barn burner, to say the least, and now there's a whole lot of storylines, although the lineups from each league may be different, although the track and the car may be different into that NASCAR Sprint Cup Series in All-Star Invitational next month, August the 6th. That's a Thursday on LSRTV. This has created some hype. There's some excitement. There's some drama, and that's what you love about good, hard, clean racing for the most part. It was an exciting night at Atlanta. Late week track change that put us here in Hotlanta. Challenged these drivers with a very difficult car to handle, a very loose racetrack. A couple of cars got a handle on it. In the end, Ryan Borges comes out on top when it's all said and done, and he ends up walking away as the first driver outside of the Sim Racing Authority to take home a win. We want to thank everybody that allowed us to be a part of this here at LSR TV. First off, everybody at ExtremeMotorsports99.com, their administration team, and Rick Donathan. If you want to get your league involved in an event like this, you can send Rick an email at rick@ExtremeMotorsports99.com. As well, all of the leagues that we saw, the North American Racing Network, the United Sim Racing Teams, Championship Online Racing Association, CORA, the Sim Racing Authority, of course, Extreme Motorsports 99, and joining us this week for the first time, the Max Speed Racing League. Thanks to all of them for putting on a show, and thanks to everybody for tuning in to LSR TV. If you want more information on us and where you can find some more sim racing throughout the week, you can go to our website at livesimracing.com or check us out on Facebook at facebook.com/livesimracingtv. Until the 6th of August when we go All-Star Racing yet again, there's a whole lot that you can keep up tabs with the next time on LSR. This Friday is round 2 of the iSuperspeedway.com Racing Series iSuper Chase. You're not going to want to miss that one. Until then, though, on behalf of the entire broadcast team tonight, alongside myself, Evan Pasoko, Brian Macklin, thank you so much, Brian, for joining me, and it was quite a show for us to check out as well. On behalf of our executive producer, Laura Lawson, and everybody for tuning in, thank you again so very much. Congratulations, your Xfinity Series All-Star Invitational winner is Ryan Borges. Until next time, we'll see you. The A-Car All-Star comes up later on in August. Until then, this has been LSR TV, the voice of sim racing. For this double clutch replay, I'll tell you, Brian, it was Ryan Borges who pushed the envelope trying to get it, but what a move by Chance Crum, fighting for his life. You'll see it right now. Just about ended up with him in the fence. He falls to 7th.
Yeah, that is what all-star racing is all about. You put it all on the line, you go for it all, and that's exactly what he did. He was trying to go for the classic pass in the grass move there, and unfortunately it didn't work out for him. But what an incredible move that was, and what an incredible battle that was between these two juggernaut drivers here. It was an awesome battle to watch, and now Ryan Borges, he's just got to run about 8 clean laps here. He's got the fastest car. He's pulling away from Nicholas Doucette. He's going to have to work through the lap traffic cleanly, and he's going to be able to come home with the win, barring any type of major catastrophe here. He is driving away from these guys now that he is no longer battling with Chance Crum. But what an incredible save that was by the 83 of Chance Crum. He did an absolutely amazing job hanging onto that car through the grass, coming back up onto the track into traffic.